We'll call this meeting to order. Determine that a quorum is present. Commissioner Wardlaw, Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Nettleton, Commissioner Flores, and myself, we have a quorum. Commissioner Vasquez, if you'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Didn't have minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. I did not have any citizens' comments. And we will move up item 21. Presentation of fallen flag of Navy veteran Bruce Emery Young Jr. to the library. Please, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank all the organizations that came together in memorializing the passing of Sailor Darius Young, who went to be with the Lord July 10th, 2019. Valverde County, thank you. The American Legion, the Veterans Coalition of Del Rio, TVC Employment Director, and the Laughlin Air Force Base Color Guard. On behalf of Valverde County, we would like to present the library this folded flag, which holds the memory of Sailor Darius Young and the honor and final salute that Valverde County gave to this fallen sailor. This is a testament of how much our county and our community cares for our veterans while they are alive and even after they pass.
Thank you very much. We're going to put it in a prominent place in our library with a little text board explaining a little bit more about it. And it's a perfect symbol for the community, and what we do think of our veterans, but what we think of the whole community as a whole.
Thank you, sir.
Come up.
Stay like this.
Come help me out here on this one. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we don't have insurance. We have to bury it.
I'll come over there. Y'all get front of us. That way we give it to you in front of us.
Mr. Vitela, para
Y'all get up front. We'll stand behind you.
Karen, let Jones know that he's not in charge.
Let me have the flag in the middle, so if you two will switch places. There we go.
Yep.
Push this chair. All right. Everybody over here and smile. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can move that. Perfect, right there. All right. One more. 1, 2.
Judge.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a solemn occasion. The judge has to join us.
And 10:30, yes. I'm sorry. You good? Item number 6, 2019-2020 budget workshop. Mr. Packard, are you here? Yeah. You want to come up? We started with you. I did. Nothing really wrong with you.
No,
There you go. I'll give you that. You should be. Now we want to come through your, I think he's on the last one. He's on the very last. I brought stuff I shouldn't have brought. What we'd asked for, if you'll look at where it says Second Assistant District Attorney, and then right under Second Assistant District Attorney, 2 lines further down, it says DA forfeiture. He was putting in $4,428.32. He's asking that be lowered to $1,963.33, and he would cover that. He's just asking to lower that, but it's out of his fund. It's out of the DA forfeiture fund. Again, and out of the $4,428 to lower it to $1,963.33. And then when you go down to where it says Board of Prosecution Attorney, under 2018-2019, there's a payroll of $83,500. He's asking for a 3% raise, just like everybody else got. And that 3% for that individual would be $2,505, which would bring that salary to $86,005. And the 3% would come out of the BPU grant funds.
That's
correct?
Yes.
And then where it says Border Prosecution Investigator, 51.5, he's asking for a 3% there, which would bring it to $1,545. I lost it. And that would bring it to $53,045. That money also would come out of the BPU grant funds. There is, out of the special funds, and we'll go over that in September 4th, but there is a line item in there that'll be put in order to expend these funds. There is a report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner.
Judge Foss? Good morning.
Good morning, Judge Owens, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak before you this morning. This morning, I'm going to address a budget issue in which there may be consideration in deleting a clerk's position in my JP court. I would like to reflect on the most recent report requested by the Office of Judge Owens and provided to you with the explanation of numbers listed, in addition to other numbers I included that reflect the daily operations of our Justice Court. In that report, I included a 3-year history of numbers beginning fiscal year October 2016 and ending July 2019. The numbers requested and provided on the report were solely based on new cases filed in our court and are available and verified through the OCA website. Section 71.035B of the Texas Government Code requires each judge, clerk, or other court official to report information pertaining to the civil and criminal business transacted by the court as required by the Texas Judicial Council. At this time, I would like to give you a handout on that from the OCA. And that's where you can obtain these reports from.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Judge Counsel, I'd like to refer and direct you to page 2 of that report, paragraph 1 on the upper side. The information stated reflect the numbers listed in my report. It states the following: the monthly report is not designed to report everything that a court does, nor everything that requires the attention or time of the judge. It is also not designed to reflect all of the clerk's responsibilities
or to provide the basis for a complete case management system. Instead, the monthly report is designed to provide the information required by law, needed by legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government to make decisions regarding the jurisdiction structure and needs of the court system. Judge Commissioners, as stated in your handouts, the numbers provided to you do not give a complete analysis or full understanding of the daily operations of the Justice Court. At this time, would you please? I'm going to provide you with a copy of the same report that was forwarded to you, in addition to a second page that will help explain an upward trend in most line items since fiscal year 2016 and how these numbers transition into work in process. Judge Commissioners, you can see the spreadsheet on fiscal year that starts on your left side, October 2016 to the most recent fiscal year of 2018 on your right-hand side. The numbers in yellow, that are highlighted in yellow, have increased from 2016. Okay, so we've had an upward trend from 2016 going into 2018. Let me reflect on a couple of items here. If you go down to where it says civil debt claims, which is your second highlighted number, and small claims. On the debt claims, we went from 27 hearings in 2016 to 122 this year and counting. The year's not over. I believe we still have 10 already logged cases for this year. That's a significant increase in our civil debt claims. If you don't know what a debt claim is, a debt claim is filed by a financial institution that is in the business of lending money, such as banks, loan companies, credit card companies, and so on and so forth. So those have really grown over the years. Small claims are based on people that sue each other, just from me to you or what have you, okay? However, let me make a point in debt claims and small claims. Effective September 1st of this coming year, 2020, our jurisdictional limit to hear cases have increased 100%. They have gone from $10,000 to $20,000 effective this next coming year. How is that going to affect our courts? We don't know, but it is going to affect it. It went up 100%. If you are basing yourself solely on the numbers that you receive, and then you divide that by 5 off of personnel, well, that's not a way to produce this formula. And let me tell you why. If you see the line item inquest, it has that we did 33 of them. And right below that, we have MHMR commitments. We did 34. One went up, one went down. But why do we want to get those numbers down? Because that affects the bottom line of your budgets. We get billed for these. Every time we send somebody for an inquest, the county pays for it. Every time we sign a commitment, the county pays for it. So the upward trend in some of these numbers have a negative effect on your budgets. I didn't have time, Judge and Commissioners, to do a complete analysis based on the time that I had to do this. So you can see that I didn't highlight magistration or misdemeanors or whatever, because I really didn't have time to go there within the 2-week span that we had with a working process we had going. At this time, I want to direct you to the second page of that report. Judge and Commissioners, kind of putting it in a nutshell. When we look at numbers, we got to look at the entire number and what it means and what it justifies. In this case, I'm going to give you just an example, and I had somebody tell me this many years ago, and it's always stayed in my mind. Every time I go to the cemetery and I see a tombstone, you always see a birth date, you see the dash, and you see the ending date. Right? But what is the most important part of those sequence numbers? It's the dash. Because the dash tells you the entire history of that person. It tells you everything that went on from the time he was born to the time he died. In this case, we have numbers that reflect a date, a birth date. But it doesn't reflect history. So I had to sit there and brainstorm of how I could transition a number into a working process. And once again, I couldn't do the entire report because my time was limited. But if you see on my civil debt claims on the upper left, on the left, where it says 122 new cases in debt claims. So what I did is say, how can I transition that to what the court does? And I got together with my clerk and I said, you know what? How many forms do you have to fill out to process one claim? She said, Judge, a minimum of 7. And that holds true for small claims and evictions. A minimum. And that doesn't include if they have a motion for continuance, a writ of garnishment, a writ of execution, and so on and so forth. These are just minimum. So just on civil debt claims, on 122 cases, they prepared 854 forms. On 30 small claims, they prepared 210 forms. On evictions, we did 12. They performed 84 forms, and so on and so forth. Criminal citations, they found 1852. And there's an average of 3 documents per ticket, so they did 5,556 forms. And so on and so forth. So you're beginning to see the trend of how that number transitioned into a working process. It wasn't just a number. What consisted of it? And like I said, it was limited just to the minimum amount of forms. In addition to what's not on your report is our not guilty dockets. We average about 180 cases per year, not guilty dockets. That transitions to 900 documents. Juvenile dockets, we average about the same. That transitions to 900 documents. And that's in lieu of all the telephone calls we have on a daily basis. You guys know that. You guys get telephone calls religiously throughout the day, so do we. In addition to that, how about the customers that come to a window that just want information? And the list goes on and on and on. Judge, commissioners, the numbers you requested are truly correct from the OCA, but they hardly reflect what we do in our courts. The numbers provided to you were at best minimal and misleading to justify the removal of a position.
For what? For the what?
For the removal of a position.
No, firing, no.
No. I truly believe that there has to be a better formula to justify this action. Judge, commissioners, based on the information I just provided to you, I firmly believe that cutting one position in my office will have a significant impact on the amount of work my staff will inherit. In addition to, and I stated this earlier, effective September 1st, 2020, as per Senate Bill 2342-1840, our jurisdictional limit will increase 100% from 10,000 to 20,000. With the staff I now have, gentlemen, we are prepared and willing to take on this task. However, by not being fully prepared, in my opinion, we will be taking a step backward instead of preparing for what's to come in the future. Every day, as I face the ongoing challenges of a judge, there's 3 basic elements that I consider that allow me to make a fair and impartial decision. Before I assume, I learned the facts. Before I judge, I have to understand why. And before I speak, I have to think. Judge, Commissioner, I ask each and every one of you to do the same today. Thank you so much.
Here you go, Judge. Hold on a minute, please.
I got a couple of questions, Judge, before you leave.
No, hold on.
Your active cases have increased by 1,500 in the last 4 years. Is that old cases, new cases, what is it?
I would like to elaborate on that, Commissioner. I didn't know if I had the time, but I'd be
No,
very glad to
definitely
do
time,
so.
sir.
I know you have questions regarding the active pending cases and disposal cases. Let me give you just a quick Justice Court 101 lesson. What factors come into play that will keep a case undisposed of? A judgment. A judgment is valid for 10 years from the date it is signed by the judge. After the expiration date of 10 years, the judgment is dormant for 2 years. During that 2-year period of dormancy, the judge cannot enforce. During this period, there are active pending cases in our system. Other factors that come into play that keep a case undisposed. How about an abstract? An abstract creates a lien on the judgment debtor's non-exempt real property in the county where the abstract has been recorded pursuant to Texas Property Code 52.001. The lien continues for 10 years and can be renewed every 10 years. So those things can linger on and on and on, and those all keep these things open. So gentlemen, it depends on how you want to read the report or how you want the report to reflect. We can go back, and a lot of cases that you see in there, they already have judgments on them. But we do not show closed on them. And I'll give you a sample why. We did a Spunk Lane case in 2017. And we left it open, because they can be open for 10 years. Just this year, they filed a writ of garnishment on that case. And it was granted. So these things stay open for the next number of years. Now, we can close them if you want to see that number. We can actually go in there and close them after every time I hand down judgment. However, that could be misleading to a new clerk. If a new clerk comes in and she's not truly knowledgeable of what's going on, and then they come up to file a lien of execution or garnishment, the clerk will say, oh wait, this case is closed. We're done with it. That's all. So we've decided to keep those cases open for 10 years in case something like that comes up. Or if you wanted to reflect, we'll be more than glad to just go back and just close them.
So these aren't necessarily active cases, they're just cases that you're just holding for 10 years. Okay.
Any other questions?
No. If you want to stand there, or if you want to go back, we're going to go over the sheet that I just gave you, sir.
Okay. Okay.
It's up to you.
I'll sit.
Okay.
Thank you.
The first one, with the A on top, and I forgot to mark the year, it's 2017, 2018. These numbers were provided by the 4 JPs. After you go down by right after EPOs, it has the total, a number of cases. Precinct 1 had, at the end of fiscal year 2018, Precinct 1 had 2,195 cases. Precinct 2 had 1,973. Precinct 3 had 2,017, and Precinct 4 had 1,652. I did by office personnel, but in visiting with Judge Cole, she did not like that. So I went down one line further and kept the same totals, but went by employees. And this is what I was looking at. And I understand that, you know, depending on magistrations, depending on administrative hearings, I mean, there's more paperwork depending on which one you're doing. But again, you have precinct 1 that did 2,195, and the numbers are there. The bottom line is, once you go by employee per office, precinct 1 did 1,098 per employee, precinct 2 did 493 per employee, precinct 3 did 672 per employee, and precinct 4 did 826 per employee. When you total those hours, just to give you when you total those with the number of cases per person that were, and we'll get down to C3, that were disposed of, per person, in precinct 1, they disposed of a case of 1 every 1.5 hours in 2017-2018. In precinct 2, it took 2.49 hours. In precinct 3, it took 1.6 hours per person per hour. And then in precinct 4, it took 1.3. If you'll go back and go to section 2, or page B, I'm sorry, you'll see that, you know, if you're comparing apples to apples, precinct 1 dropped a little bit, precinct 2 grew by a lot, precinct 3 dropped by a little bit, precinct 4 dropped by a little bit. But even when you do the numbers per employee, precinct 1 did 1,013 per employee. Precinct 2, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the employee numbers. Precinct 2 by employee did 613. Precinct 3 did about 613, and precinct 4 did 776 by employee. And I understand the judge's comments that depending on whether it's a ticket or an eviction or a small debt claim, there's more forms that need to be filled out per event or whatever. The problem with that is that when you look at your civil debt in precinct 1, they had 112, and up from October 1st, 2018 to July 31st, 2019, they had 112, and precinct 2 had 122. And then precinct 4 also had 114. So those three are pretty much in line when it comes to that. I think that was one of the ones that you mentioned had 6 or something copies. And then when you go to C, page C, this is civil and criminal cases. I put what they had at the end of 2017, and then what was added for the year 2017-2018. And then it says total cases. If you'll look, precinct 1 does have 4,302. Precinct 2 at the end of 2018 had 10,911. Precinct 3 had 7,312. Precinct 4 had 2,658. And yes, precinct 2 is out there. I mean, compared to precinct 1, it's more than double, and compared to precinct 4, it's almost it's almost 4 times, 3.5 times. But then the number that got me was the number of cases that were disposed of. Precinct 1, out of 4,302 cases, they disposed of 646. Precinct 2, out of 10,911 cases, they disposed of 779 cases. And I think we just got an explanation how come they're open. Precinct 3, out of 7,321 cases, they disposed of 1,156 cases, which was the most by far. Precinct 4 disposed of 985 cases. And if you go a little bit further down, if you go by employees, Precinct 1 has 18% of the employees. They disposed of 18% of the cases that were disposed of. Precinct 2 has 4 employees, which is 36% of employees, and they disposed of 21%. Precinct 3 has 27% of employees. They disposed of 32%. And Precinct 4 has 18%. They disposed of 27% of the cases that they had.
Judge, can I clarify something? Dispositions and closed cases are 2 different things.
Okay, well, disposed of them. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sorry about that. Precinct 1, they have 2 employees. For the amount of cases that they had, they did 323 per employee. Precinct 4 did 195 per employee. Precinct 3, they have 3 employees. They did 385 per employee. Precinct 4 they have 2 employees, they had 493. And I mean, you know, this is something that I will tell you that, Judge, I don't have an answer. I thought I had an answer up until yesterday, until visiting with Matt, and I don't have an answer. I will be frank with you, and when I look at the numbers, I know y'all are working hard. I know that. But when I look at the numbers, I have no way to judge. And I was asked at one point, a couple years ago as a commissioner, that we might be looking for one in your precinct. I think you've been looking for somebody for 2 or 3 years. And now as judge, I had no way to figure out how to get you one or how not to get you one. But my thing was, I believed that everybody needed one, because they kept saying they needed one. Judge Lopez had come up and said that she would like to have a part-timer also. The only way that I could justify to the court and say, look, this is what I can do, and this is what I've looked at, was to put numbers together. I did not go and see how many forms need to be filled out per civil debt claim or per small claim or eviction. I didn't do that, and I'll tell you that up front. But when I look at this, damn, it's just, it's hard. It's really hard. And I'm trying to pick my words here, that way I make sure I don't completely make you mad, okay? But when I look at the numbers, based on percentages and stuff, we're off a little bit compared to other precincts. I've been wrestling with this since for the last probably month and a half, 2 months, and then probably real hard for about the last month when I come up to visit you that Monday before the meeting. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I did know what the answer was last night and yesterday. And my answer, and I don't know what they were going to do, but my answer was to not fund one of your positions. But in visiting with a couple of people last night, if we do that, because where your numbers are at, then you're going to come back to me and say, now I need comp time. Because I'm sitting here looking at your numbers. To me, just speaking real frank, just throw it out there, rip the Band-Aid off. I think your numbers are low per employee. I would ask, and I'm backing off. I really am, compared to what I wanted to do. I was going to ask the court, you know, as far as my opinion was to the individual, for you to pick one, that we were not going to fund for your office, and have that individual roam or help the other 3 precincts in some way. That way they could fill in. That way we don't get rid of a position. It's not whoever we were not to fund. It's not their fault. Okay. But I don't want the court to have to come back next year and your numbers now be worse than what they are because I've taken somebody from you. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle here. I really and truly, just quite honestly, don't know what to do. If it was up to me up until last night, I would have recommended that we pull somebody and let it be it. You know, whatever happens, happens. But it's not going to be fair to the citizens of Valverde County, because now we already know what you're doing with 4, and if we use those numbers, you're going to be doing less with 3. I really, I don't know.
Well, the cases come in regardless.
No, I understand that, but when you look at the numbers and you look at what the cases are being disposed, then you look at all the other numbers compared to other precincts. And that's my deal, is you can come up here and say all the numbers in the world, but you have to have something to compare to, which would be all the other precincts. I don't know, Commissioners. Last night, I would have said unfund one of them, or remove one of them from his department and let the other 3 precincts use them. It is, when you look at the numbers, I do believe it's not fair to the other 3 precincts when it comes to the numbers. But again,
Judge,
I don't know.
Judge, I agree with you. When I look at the revenue end of this, I mean, we're talking about numbers of cases, and then we start looking at revenues. You got precinct 1 at 61,000. Precinct 2 at 86,000, Precinct 3 at 106,000, Precinct 4 at 42,000. They all have a workload. I'm not saying they don't need the employee. The problem is all of them need an extra employee. Every single one of them. And that costs money. I think your ideal of trying something to allow people, an individual to assist with everyone so everybody kind of gets a part-time and nobody necessarily loses is not a bad idea.
I think that's a good compromise.
But I'm not in those offices, and I'd like to hear from the other JPs.
Let's do this. If you'll wait, Judge Cole is here, and she wanted an employee. If you don't mind, Judge. You okay? Judge Cole?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And you open the door for her. She wants another employee.
Judge, Commissioners, I would like to make a personal comment before I talk about numbers and facts. Since I came here 8.5 years ago, this court has been very good to me and to our office. I have asked for things. I have told you why I needed them. I had reasons for what I asked for, and the things that you awarded to our office have been put to good use. And I appreciate that. It's been a continual thing, and I have been very careful with the budget that you have given me, using it in a very careful and cautious way. I realize that's not our money, and we need to be guardians of that money and not waste it. And I've worked hard at doing that. Now, to address the number of cases as opposed to the number of employees, let's go back here just a little bit. I'm somewhat of a proactive person, and I sent an email back in April about this legislative change that was going to change the jurisdictional limits from 10 to 20. I saw that coming, and with the communication that I have from Austin, I felt like it was going to pass, and sure enough, on June 12th, it did pass. So it's coming. Like it or
Not to interrupt, but can you explain that?
Can I explain?
What does it mean?
Okay, I can explain that. As of today, if you came to my office and you wanted to file a claim, small claims or a debt claim case, if it was $9,999, we can take your case. We have jurisdiction for that. Plus, the court costs can be added to that.
So that's a small claims. We're
That's
talking
a
about the
small
limits
claim
on
for a
small
civil
claims.
suit.
And they pay what to do this?
$146.
And it costs you what?
And it costs me what?
What does it cost the county?
Well, the constable...
Well, I mean,
has-
apparently we have hours. I'm just trying to get to hours. I mean,
Okay.
This is an individual who is filing a claim against another individual, which has
Right.
nothing to do with citations or anything else.
Right.
This is a civil issue.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we only charge $150-something for them.
Well, we have to charge for citation service, which the constable serves the notice to the defendant.
And this is all by statute, the
This
charge.
is all by statute. We
So,
don't...
so the legislators in their infinite wisdom
Yes.
decided to increase your workload
Yes,
and not allow us to recoup the actual costs to do the job.
you're absolutely right.
But it's also decreasing
So
the
now,
court's workload. It decreases the upper level courts.
But it decreases
Yes.
the other court loads. So they won't be filing in like Judge Gonzalez's or
Right.
somebody else's.
so now, as of the effective date of this thing, you can file $19,999 claim in our court. So what is that going to mean? That's going to mean like things like car accidents, major debt claims. Before, if it was a debt claim, it could have been a small one, $200, $300, $400, $5,000. Now, the larger amounts are going to fall into our court up to $20,000. So yes, it's going to be a major shift from the court at law and maybe some from district court. I don't know how many they get over there. But it's going to cause a major shift from court at law to the JP courts.
And how long does it take you to deal with a case like that? Just an estimate. How many man hours?
Oh, I would say probably 15 or more.
15 or more man hours.
Yes, and the reason that I'm saying that is because the plaintiff is going to come to the window. I need to file a small claims or a debt claim. Okay, well, we give them the documents and the information. Can't give legal advice, right, counsel? But we give them the documents and information. So then they take that, they have to complete that affidavit, the plaintiff's statement, all that. If they are indigent and they cannot pay court costs, they fill out that. We have to have an indigency hearing. There's a lot of steps that go there. So then we set a case, a date for the case, then the constable, we prepare the citation, then the constable serves it, he comes back, so on this particular day, and there is a time span set out for each one
Yeah,
of
I
these
mean, I'm
events.
just curious of the total man hours it takes
Yeah,
to,
I'd say at
from when
least
they
15
file
hours.
till they finally settle the case.
Till you settle the
Your
case.
staff, is
Yes.
about 15 hours.
I would say that.
So what is our average salary cost?
Up in that office?
Yeah, or any, those offices, just an average, a base, I don't need an exact number.
You said $16 an hour. For free.
Not including any other of our costs, which is yours, that wouldn't include her salary, that's true.
Correct, it would not.
So we're losing money on every single case.
Absolutely. But those fees are set by the state.
No, I understand that.
Another one of those unfunded mandates,
I understand
or
that.
short-funded mandates.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right, you go right ahead. So, what I will say here, and I know that the collection of money is not the purpose of our court. The purpose of our court is to do justice for our citizens and for the state, and we are to be impartial. You know, this $106,000, that doesn't go to our court. Very little of it goes to our court. But let me tell you about this $106,000. You know, a lot of that goes to the county. You know, in our court costs, some of it goes to the county, and some of it goes to the tech fund, some of it goes someplace else. But what happens here is after you have a judgment on a citation for a traffic ticket, let's say. You have a citation for a traffic ticket. Okay, so the person is either found guilty in not guilty court, or they have entered a plea and agreed to pay that. Okay, well, it's not all overdone and close a folder and put it away. It's up to us to make sure that person pays. So if something happens that they don't pay, you know, then we're having to follow on the cases. So now we're almost like, in a sense, like a collection agency. These people owe and have not paid, and what are we going to do? Just let them sit out there and think, oh, well, you know, they said I was guilty, but I haven't paid it.
Judge Cole, don't we have a collection
That's what I
law
thought.
firm?
We do have a collection process.
No, a collection law firm.
Yes, ma'am, we do. We have a collection law firm, and it's Weinberger, and they do a good job, but there is a point before it gets to Weinberger. And what we try to do is stay on top of these so that we can collect them without Weinberger having to, so that we don't have to pay the Weinberger fees.
Judge, real quick, your answer in her court's $17 average per person, 15 hours, $255 for that one case, if it's just one person on the case. That's your answer to the question.
That's your answer, yes.
You want to know how much it costs to file a case?
So, you know, we
And have that,
work
the state
very
gets a portion
hard.
of it?
Sir?
Of that, the state gets a portion of it?
Yes, they get a portion. You know, they get $2 for this, and $3 for that, and $10 for this, and $10 for that. and-
Of the court costs, but in criminal cases, if they're fines, the county gets, on most of the cases, the county gets everything. So it's different if it's criminal or civil.
Yes. It is. And, you know, I will ask this question. When you and I met last week, Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
I brought you these October 1st through 7/31/19 numbers.
And they are on the numbers that, I just gave to the commissioners. They were from October 1st, 2018 through the end of July 2019.
But
Did you get a form?
I didn't get the form that you used, but these are not the numbers that I have on this report.
I'll show you what I got. And we pulled them off of also the,
Yeah, I pulled these numbers out of EDOC. That's where I got my numbers.
and then I went through your numbers and put them on here. I
Okay.
did not average the last 2 months. What I did is actually take hard numbers.
Okay,
That's
that's
ma'am.
what the
Yeah.
difference is.
I didn't average them because I would have had to average the rest of them, so I just took
Yeah,
actual hard numbers.
I understand, and that makes perfect sense. Okay, as long as we're all playing on the same
Yes, ma'am.
field. Yeah, great, I understand that. Yes, I need a new clerk, another clerk. You know, as Judge Foz said, you know, these numbers don't account for the visits at the window. They don't account for the many, many phone calls. And by the way, thank you for the new phone system. Because as it speaks now, if you dial our main number, 7511, and somebody's talking on it, it doesn't roll over to the next phone line, so people think, gee whiz, you can't ever get in touch with these people. So thank you for the new phone system. We need that. So, disposition of the cases, you know, stay on them. You know, I'm watching what is not disposed of all the time so that we can dispose of them and account for that. You know, a lot of what I do in
And
addition to
then, Judge, real
magistrate's
quick, and
inquest,
the numbers that we looked at on the civil and criminal cases, 2017 to October 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2018, you were the highest, at 1,150 cases that you disposed of.
yes, sir. And, you know, the situation is that you can close the case, and then if someone comes later and wants an abstract of judgment, you know, they've got some time to do that. And if they come later and they want the abstract of judgment, you can reopen the case.
Is that what you do, Judge, in you close them out?
I close them out because we don't need these things pending and having to watch them if there's no activity. So we close our cases. And then if somebody comes back later on, they want an abstract of judgment, hey, that's okay. We can reopen, put the abstract of judgment in there. They can go file it with Miss Janie over there. And the case is now open again.
If we was to give you a person, where would you put it?
Actually, I think that's up to Commissioner Flores.
All right.
You still have that, John?
Where would you put it?
My question here, Judge, concerning payroll dollars per precinct. Precinct 4's got 126,000 for the year. You have 150,000. Precinct 2's got 180, and precinct 1's got 127. Now, all the precincts are pretty much level when it comes to population. And the dollar amounts, they differ quite a bit in two precincts. Are the workloads more in one precinct than another? I mean, do we have a bad barrio somewhere? Or, I mean, to me, it should be leveled out. I mean,
They are because of the schools.
well, yes.
And it's the criminal cases. It's
Yeah,
a
I
difference.
understand, but there's a big difference there.
There is a big difference.
Big difference that.
Let me suggest to you this, that we look at the tenure of the time of the clerks. For instance, Ashley's only been with us 6 years, Connie, I believe, has been there 14? Okay, so, you know, they have,
Seems like 30, but.
yeah. You know, see.
Well, and I go back to the payroll dollars and then employees. I mean, you have 3, precinct 2's got 4, and the other precinct's got 2 each. So, I mean, I don't know, it just,
Well,
Can you give me those numbers again, please, sir?
on what, the payroll?
The payroll
150,
for number 3,
126 for number 4,
okay?
180 for number 2, and 127 for number 1, precinct JP1.
Okay, well, of course, 180 and for precinct number 2 is because there's one more clerk.
Well, no, I understand that, but there's a big difference between the JPs and their payroll and their employees and their workload and their cases, and
Right.
I think it should be pretty much average across the board. I mean, to me, that's my opinion, but,
Well,
You know.
I think the demographic makeup of each of the precincts is a little different,
well, I understand, but
you know, and that's going to dictate a lot of what happens in our courts. For instance, you know, an observation came up about this a while back, and we talked about evictions. For instance, evictions showed precinct 1 had 14. There's a lot of homeowners there that are not people who move around a lot. They pretty much stay in their home. Precinct 2 had 25. Precinct 3 had 16. And precinct 4 had 17. So 3 and 4 had a few. Precinct 2 was higher on this original list. Now, as we come up to the time now, I have increased considerably. If you would look at this report, evictions went from 16 in 2000, ending with the year 2018, and so far, as of the end of July this year, we've had 23. So our evictions are up. There's a lot of rental property in precinct 3. I think a lot of that is, and I may be wrong, I don't have any facts to substantiate that, but I think a lot of the people from the base buy homes, and then when they leave, they rent them. If they don't sell them, they rent them. And then, of course, we get into the situation where we have evictions sometimes because the renter doesn't live up to their...
Let's, thank you, Judge. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Precinct 2, what do we want to do in precinct 2? Want to leave it? Want to... not, well, I wouldn't say unfund, I think what we need to do
If we did a, like your suggestion, where that individual spent so many months at each precinct rotating to assist,
Months?
or however it works out. I mean,
Hours,
there's 4 precincts and you divide a person by 4, it's whatever it is.
3 months.
Would it help, is the question.
I think it would be difficult, and the reason being is because the laws are the same for all 4 precincts. However, our processes change from one precinct to the other. They can change. The other thing that is of a concern to me is who is the supervisor of this person?
that's right,
Who
4
do
bosses.
they report to?
Whenever they work 3 months for you, they work 3 months for you.
I think the best way,
So what do we do with the other 9 months?
Judge, effective way would be if that person working 40 hours a week, 10 hours per week with each JP.
I just don't feel like that is an appropriate solution.
You wouldn't take an individual for 3 months, a part-timer for 3 months.
I would prefer not to do that, no. I think someone needs to be in one place doing things the same way, working for the same
Well, and now
supervisor.
that you bring that up, if we had one individual to do all of y'all's magistrations, paperwork on the magistrations, would that work?
I disagree with that too.
Give me something.
Give you something? Sorry. I mean, it's my opinion. I disagree with that. Because then again, if you have one person that's handling all the magistrations, again, if they've got magistrations for this person, they've got magistrations for this judge, they've got, who's going to keep up with all this? Who's going to supervise
Do
this
other
individual?
departments do this? I mean, do other counties do this, the magistration clerk?
They have all kinds of different clerks depending on how much money they have. They also have magistration court, and we don't have magistration court, where you take turns.
All right, well, we're getting off now. I'm throwing out, everybody's throwing out something. What do y'all want to do with precinct 2 again? Do we want to leave it? Do we want to split that person and let her roam with the precincts that would take her? What do we do?
I'll make that motion, Judge.
To do what?
All of the above. All of the above.
You can't have all of them, man. But it's fine.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're not willing to work with a roaming person, I mean, that's,
Somebody will be.
Yes,
But Judge Foss, you had a question right now, and I'm sorry.
now this will kick up the hand up to the 5. Yes, sir. Okay.
Judge Commissioner, I do agree with Judge Cole. To have a person that's roaming from court to court, it'd be difficult because we all run our courts in a different style and way. And it'll be difficult for one person to get adjusted to 4 different offices. And eventually, I don't even know if the employee that you put there is going to want to transition from one office to another office. So I do have to agree with Judge Cole on that. Okay?
No, and I think, like I said earlier, this has been difficult. I mean, my deal is, we don't want anybody to lose their job if this was to happen.
We're hesitant to cut somebody, but we're asking y'all to work this out amongst the 4 precincts.
Well, and it's really not up to us, because we can agree to do that, but is the employee going to want to agree to do that? Are you going to find an employee, or am I going to lose one anyway, and then we're going to have to hire another employee to fill that position?
the concept was that one of your employees would be the one that rotates, and then there would be
and
the full-times, and then one would rotate.
exactly.
Does that work for you, or not? The other JPs? Huh?
Judge Lopez, we were talking about, can I come up, can you hear? I know you can hear me now, I'm sorry. No, we're good. And I want to thank you for something, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
If the court was to have an individual do part-time 3 months in every court, would that work for you?
Yes, Judge. Any little help that I can get at my office would be appreciated.
Judge Castillo. Thank you. Judge Castillo?
Judge and Commissioners, on this thing, I know I'm new, but I mean, I do would have to part, I guess, with Judge Coleman and Judge Foss. I did work for a bank, and one of the hardest things that I ever did as a supervisor was having rotating tellers, and it was hard. It was hard trying to get them from one place to another. Of course, I mean, we're looking at different, maybe, bank telling versus clerks here. But we do, sometimes we're creatures of habit, and people, they do get accustomed to their place. And I feel that the persons that are right now at their place, they feel that they, in a sense, they own that particular desk, they feel at home. And if you were to move them, maybe they won't be able to produce as much as what they're doing right now, like what Judge Foss was saying, that you get them out of the, I mean, I'm not saying comfort zone, but in a way they are, that's where they're at. So, again, I guess,
That's just an opinion.
to emphasize with you that, it is hard. And, but as far as, in my office, few months that I've been there, I can tell you that my clerks are happy the way we are, and we're working together. We're working really hard and trying to do the best for our community.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Do you have a difficult time functioning with 2 employees?
Judge Castillo.
Do you have a difficult time functioning with only 2 employees?
No, sir. Like I was saying,
It works fine for you?
right now
With two guys,
we're
with two
happy.
people?
Yes, and I have visited with my clerks, and they're pretty happy the way we are right now. And then again, if we were to per se given another clerk, I'll go back to the question that you asked, Judge Cole. What would you put the clerk? So.
Well, you have, according to these numbers, the largest number per person of cases. I was just curious.
All I would add to that, Commissioner, would say that I'm blessed with the clerks that I have. That's it. Thank you.
Are we adopting the budget?
Huh?
What are we adopting?
No, we ain't adopting the budget today. We're gonna do this, and then what we'll do is, I think Judge Cadena wanted to speak, and then,
Are y'all gonna listen
Judge-
to numbers? Because I have numbers.
Huh?
I have numbers if y'all want to hear numbers.
No.
Okay.
We'll get to it. I think Judge Cadena wanted to speak, and then we have, Mr. Amon that had not come up yet. And then if we can get through that, and, September 4th, we were gonna do our special revenue, special accounts, and we would do that on September 4th. That was the plan.
Yeah, because I got a whole ton of questions on special revenue. So.
No, I said, I was leaving that just for a day.
Okay.
That way we could get, and then at that point, if we get it done, then we could adopt the budget or whatever at that time. But we haven't not gone through special revenue. And this right here, I mean, I don't know. Like I was telling you earlier, I mean, I feel bad, and I mean, I don't know whether I could go in there and do per hour, per case, how many pieces of paper it takes. I mean, that could be more specific and then come back to the court next year. I just don't want everybody to feel out there that we're dinging them for not getting an employee when we're looking at numbers at other precincts.
Could I make one last comment?
Yes, ma'am. Of course. All the time in the world.
You just don't talk shut up.
I didn't say that.
Judge Foz is not aware that I'm going to make this comment. He didn't ask me for any assistance. He didn't ask me for my opinion, and it may be just what you're worth, what it's worth that you're paying to hear it. But I'm up there a lot of the time. I'm up there early, I'm up there late. And Judge Foz's staff work very hard. And I'm not saying that anybody else does, but you don't see them sitting around there reading magazines. You don't see them sitting there polishing their fingernails. You don't see them sitting there playing on their cell phone. Those ladies are working all the time. And I think that a lot of consideration needs to be made as to what we're facing with this jurisdictional increase of $20,000. And I would hope that you take that into consideration.
Judge,
Motion to leave it the way it is.
thank you. I have a second.
I'll second it.
What's the motion?
Motion to leave it the way it is. I'll have a motion and a second. Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
All right.
All right, 5-0 vote. If y'all don't mind, I'll start work on this in a couple of months, and then next time we go through this, we'll have better numbers.
All right. Thanks, Judge.
Pardon me?
She didn't get her employed.
Your decision on what you decide
We're
about
fixing to
me.
go to you. We'll get you next.
One at a time. We're getting through each one of
This
them.
one is on precinct 2, Commissioner Foss's
Yes.
department. Okay. Judge Cole, precinct 3. Do I hear a motion or no motion?
I mean, I see the need. I mean, you know, this is part of a bigger problem that I have. While it's easy to add an employee, we have to find the revenue to do it. And we are currently using $2.7 million of our reserves on this budget, so we have to find a place to relieve it, which was my conversation on special funds and the ability to free up some dollars. I see the need that the judge has for it. I mean, I do actually go up to hers. I don't go to anybody else's, but I actually do go to her courtroom. I will make a motion. What position are we looking at? What salary range? You're just asking for a position, but at what salary, what?
It would be whatever the base is, if it's adopted.
So it would be, your base is 2272. Oh, sorry.
Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Commissioners.
That's the current base, and then your proposed is 24,550.
Okay.
Now that labor in those offices has come to the forefront, we are all aware of the new case management system and of the redundancies and inefficiencies up in those offices with the current software.
Now we're going to spend $1 million.
But we always have the mantra, we want to exchange CapEx for OpEx.
Mhm.
Are we really going to go with OpEx over CapEx? In time.
Prove to me that the $1 million that you want to spend
Mhm.
to change out the software
Mhm.
is going to save us the personnel cost.
What's CapEx and OpEx?
Capital
In other words,
expenditures, operational
in other words, use technology to replace employees, which I'm okay with.
It will in time, however far you run it out, it will. But employee JP3, employee JP2, when's it going to stop? And we know that software cost is going to happen. And we know software programmer costs will exceed property valuation increases, appraisal increases, sorry. We know that. We're going to be chasing a losing game. Because the software integration is going to happen at some point. Maybe not when we're all up here, but at some point it will. And we're about to grow offices with office space we don't have when we have the software that's in 70% of Texas.
So you're going to tell me that if I go out and spend $1 million on software plus an additional $80,000 a year in annual on top of what I'm already spending,
About $86,000.
$86,000, that I can cut
Well,
how many employees?
see, now you're talking about cutting. Before we were talking about growing and not adding, is where we're coming from. We're talking about growing and not adding. How many positions did we discuss?
Okay, so I don't, well, I mean, we're only discussing one position.
We discussed one, but we discussed needs in other offices already.
I understand, but
Okay.
those needs in those other offices, are you talking about judicial offices or other offices?
Well, in the JP's offices, I've already.
Let's do this. Let's take care of her employee and then don't leave. So we'll talk about that real quick.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to add the employee. I don't know where you're going to put them.
Ask
No, I
Mr. Lord.
mean, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to have to put them where you got them. There ain't no building space. It is what it is.
Well, I see on the agenda where we're going to give some space to somebody else or consider it.
Okay, we have a motion. Let's, one thing at a time. Do I have a, just real quick? We have a motion and a second. No second, motion dies. Did you need to say something? Did you want to say something? No. We're good for now? Okay. Judge Lopez?
No, Judge, I was just asking, you know, if there was going to be an employee added.
No, that's how come I wanted to do one thing at a time.
All right.
Okay, Judge, thank you. Judge Gallen? Sure.
I wanted to sit up front so you know I was here.
Well, I saw you, but I actually looked for you twice.
I didn't know, I guess I'm used to working on dockets, so I didn't know if I was here at the right time, but I appreciate you all granting me the time. I know what I'm going to address is not one of the most pleasant things to talk about. I get it. But I'm going to ask you to consider and act on literally leveling the playing field. I want to make sure that my employees are treated just like all the other employees. Right now I have an assistant court coordinator making about $10,000 less than a legal secretary in another office. And to me, that is just absolutely absurd. And we've suffered in silence for about 7 years, waiting for this court to do something about it. So I think we've been patient long enough. So I think we've waited long enough. Now, I understand this court has and did some kind of employee type of study. And I urged through the channels that her title be changed to reflect her responsibilities. But it wasn't done. So I think I've done all I can do to work within the framework. And now I'm going to be here to try to highlight why it should be done. Bottom line is, I have Belinda Zapata, who's worked 17 years in that particular position. And in your proposed budget, she would be at $37,130. I'm asking you to pay her commensurate with a legal secretary in another office, legal secretary, mind you, in the amount of $46,568.46. All right? And the reason being is that it's equal pay for equal work. Although I could probably argue that having to coordinate a district court over 3 counties entails more work. But I'm not going to, I just want to throw it out there. And the reason that I want us to say that it's equal pay for equal work, you all are the best examples of it. Commissioner Wardlaw, as I understand it, I got your coin in my pocket, by the way. Appreciate it. 5-term county commission. Great accomplishment. Do you know you get paid the same that the 1-term commissioner gets paid?
I'm worth a lot more.
With all due respect, I'm going to stand real quick. I'm going to listen to you, but I don't want you to think that I'm disrespectful on my back's partner.
No, I got, hey, it's your court, you do what you got.
No, I didn't want you to think that I'm not paying attention. I'm just going to stand right here. Okay.
We can talk later, too. But here's the deal. So if you all recognize equal pay for equal work, why can't you all do it in this particular instance? You all have done it for yourselves. Each commissioner gets paid the same amount of money, whether it's 5 terms or 1 term, or Commissioner Portis, 2 or 3?
2. Well, I'm on my third.
You're on your 3rd term, do you get paid the same amount of money as first term?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Nelson, 4th term?
You've been here 20 years.
But I think that, I understand it. What you all have done for yourselves is the same thing that I'm arguing for mine. Equal pay for equal work. It's the same position. The problem is, she's got the wrong title. For whatever reason, titles have now become what you all are working with, when it really should be, what are they doing? And I provided each and every one of you her job description, in addition to the description of the particular adjusted salary that I'm asking you for, and I bet you there's no way you could sit there and say there was a difference. What I'm telling you is those particular titles are nothing but a ruse. It's a title. But you all can look beyond the title and do the right thing. And if you want to sit there and say, oh, by the way, but this person's been in that position for 14 years longer or 15 years longer. Well, I tell you what, I got a court reporter with 47 years experience. The next court reporter in the same building is 28 years experience. But you know what?
Is that Steele?
That's Steele. And I've got his resume.
How many years?
47. Affectionately known as Judge Steele. Because, he's seen so much. I learned from him. I'll be real frank. He's seen a lot. But that's what you do. You surround yourself with good people. But he gets paid the same as the other. I'm not complaining about that. What you all have done in those instances is what I'm asking you to do now. equal pay for equal work. That is what you all have done for yourselves. That is what we have instituted within the judiciary in terms of the court reporters. It's also the same thing you all instituted with regards to the judiciary, because now you've got the 63rd coordinator making the same amount of money as the assistant court coordinator as in the 83rd. But just like you thought, you know what, I'm worth more because I got more experience. Well, I've got one lady, 27 years working for the county, 20 in the clerk's office before I elevated her, because you can't put people in those positions that don't have experience.
Is that, which one is that, Otis?
Yep.
How many years?
She had 20 in the clerk's office before I elevated her up and asked her to work for me.
Judge, if you don't mind, let's do one at a time.
Okay, one at a time. Bottom line is what I'm asking you to do, you know, I don't think in any way, shape, or form it can be construed as wrong. And you all know me better. I don't come up here and ask you for a single dime of taxpayer money unless I feel that it's merited. And I've waited a long time for this. But at this point, I can see it becoming a morale problem. And I want to fix it. And it's a one-time fix. It is a one-time fix. I will not come back to do this again if you put them on the same playing field and level them out. Yes.
Can I ask a couple of questions here? You're talking about your assistant court coordinator.
That's right.
In your office, your assistant court coordinator is at 37,130.
That's exactly right.
In Judge Henry's court, the assistant court coordinator is at 35,328.
Okay.
I'm just.
I think they were supposed to be at the same level.
No, I understand the amount of time, but we're having a discussion about time does not equal value, positions and jobs equal the value.
I'm asking you to look at what do they really, really do.
I understand. I clearly understand. Their job is exactly the same as the other person's job, which is exactly the same as the other person's job. So in that scenario, you take away base pays, you take away all of that, everybody stays equal because all those jobs are the same. Doesn't matter if you're 20 years, 5 years, 3 years, 8 years, 10 years. That's the conversation we're having.
That's the conversation. That is what I'm putting forth because.
So if I do what you want me to do in my motion, then I have to do it.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Why
Because I knew you were going to ask that.
Why?
Because I'm here today asking for it. If the other person doesn't come in and ask for it, you don't have to do it. It's not a domino effect. It's not. And you know why? Because I asked that question.
Then in that case, the same work does not value. The work only values if the individual comes and asks for it.
No. Here's the deal. If the supervisor feels that it's merited, he can come before you and ask for it. If he doesn't feel that it's merited, he doesn't have to come.
No, I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
But the point I'm trying to get to is the conversation we're having about a value is in the job that they do, not in the years that they serve. That's the conversation we're having. Because they're all doing the same job. At the end of the day, they're all doing the exact same job, more or less. Some have a few cases more, some have a few cases less. Same conversation we have with the JPs. And I'm not saying I'm not going to support it, I'm just asking the question. Because this question is a countywide issue. This is not a judicial issue. This is not your issue. This is a countywide issue. We have office managers that do the same job countywide. We have road and bridge employees that do the same job countywide. We have all of that. And using this theory that everybody would be at the same pay doesn't matter. There would be no base pay. There would be no ending pay. All pays would be equal for that position, and everybody would move equally amongst that.
I think you're looking at doomsday scenario. What I'm sitting there saying is that, look, each employee, the supervisor, can evaluate them for performance. They can evaluate them for experience.
Now you're having a different conversation, which is a conversation I totally agree with. Because I believe that the system should be that this court is a cost of living increase. And then we allocate money to each department for merit. Merit is a whole different animal than cost.
And, to be real transparent, this 3% raise, it's exactly that. It's not a raise. It's a cost of living. But you know what? It's potato.
What's
All right.
what's the CPI this year?
1 point something.
1 point something.
Okay, all right. 3%. Here's
The conversation I'm getting to is for me to sit here and have this conversation fairly. Whether Judge Henry showed up or he didn't show up, the position is still the same. Because the argument here is that we're basing two positions and the salary should be the same. And I'm not saying they're not the same. I don't know what your person does. I don't know what the other person does. I don't know. But then you have the other person that they do the same job at the end of the day.
Don't get too far out in the weeds. Bottom line is that I had this conversation with him. I asked him to accompany me here. Didn't want to. All right? But the experience I have on my side of the house is a lot more. That's why
So then can we get down to the real conversation here? It's not about them all doing the same job or not. This is about you believe your person deserves to make that pay, and you're standing here making that argument. I mean, that's what this is about, because that other person does the same job. I mean, whether that person showed up or didn't show up didn't matter. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it, don't misunderstand, I'm not saying I'm going to support it, but at the end of the day, this conversation is the same as every conversation that we have in this court when we come to budget, is everybody believes that their employee deserves that. And this has always been the problem we've had at the county, is there is no... We're getting close. The judge did put together something that actually is closer than we've been in a long time to getting to where that works, where we're equal and based off of it. We've been working on this deal with job descriptions for, well, I've been here 16, almost 20 years, and we're still having this conversation.
And I agree that this is the closest we've come to equity, so that we have something to work off of.
And there's room to work on it. Don't disagree. There's room to work on it. Don't disagree that we have a lot more discussions to have in this conversation. But we're getting there. We still have all the job description issues. We spent years and years and years and years and years trying to get job descriptions and couldn't get them. You gave us ours. I just, and I'm off on a whole nother deal that has,
Real quick. Commissioners, do you have any other comments? Commissioners? No.
Okay.
Just real quick, I just wanted to give them a chance to.
So in other words, I talked too much.
I was thinking it, but I
and I understand, we've had a lot of conversations ourselves. But what you say and what you do are different things. You know what I'm saying? And not personal. Your budget is going to say everything. What you tell me doesn't mean nothing.
Oh, no, trust me, I clearly understand.
That's the signal you're going to send today. And that study right there, I tried to work with you all on that study. I provided you all that description, and you all still didn't change the title. The title is so transparent, Judge, you know it is. What title you put on somebody, look at the substance of what they do. That's the important thing. And there is no way you can differentiate the workload. There's no way you can differentiate the responsibilities. That title system is transparent. It is absolutely just, throwing it out there like smoke. But when you look at the substance of it, you can't justify it. You just simply can't. And it's diminishing the judiciary. You're sitting there saying, by this, they're just not that important as some other legal secretary in another office. And I'm not diminishing that. Hey, they deserve it. I get it. But the bottom line is that so does ours. And that's all I'm asking for, is to be treated equally. And that's why I want to address each commissioner. Commissioner Wardlaw, you know what it's like to have a valued employee. You know what it's like, especially one with experience. And I've heard about that incident where you had this steer or prize bull or something like that was caught in a chute, had one leg sticking out of one end, and one leg sticking out of the other, and everybody's sitting there trying to figure out how to save the life of this particular animal, and you all were fixing to pull out your knife because you're going to butcher it, and then somebody solved the problem by getting the jack and opening it up. That employee or that person,
How'd you hear about that?
I know that you know how important it is to have the right hand,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Because they got to go to battle with you every day.
Right. We call it manias.
That's right. I got the money. I've got people around me that help me do the job. I want to make sure that they stay that way. Because we want to have a long-term relationship with you all, not a short-term one. So you understand it. And that's why, even though I know you all work together very, very well, I'm going to ask each one of you to make an independent decision based upon what you know is right. You know having the right hand works. You, Commissioner Vasquez, are not tied to the ways of the past. You can provide vision. Vision, cost, lack of vision costs more. You can sit there and say, you know what, this is wrong, call a spade, and just level it out. Because you don't know as much of the history of some of these folks do. You don't have to justify what has happened in the past. You can just lay it out and do the right thing from here on out. Commissioner, you work well with people. We've had these conversations before, and you know all you have to do today is the right thing. That's why all this other talk about employee things, oh, we've gotten this close and that close. I know, and you know, that as soon as you got that particular report, you deviated from it and gave raises to the people you wanted to. I know that. I know that. I know that. And that's what I'm trying to get you all away from. That's why I waited so long to come before you. Because I don't want to highlight the inadequacies. I simply want to have a level playing field. Commissioner Nettleton, I applaud you for trying to do the right thing. But here, your actions are going to have to speak louder than your words. Because your budget's going to tell me everything that I need to know about where your priorities are. You can do it. You all have the power to do it. And you've got more money at your disposal. You've got more money at your disposal than you all have ever had. And I know that. Because I look at these budgets too. And my employee is the one that helps you get these budgets together. I'm very familiar with how things are done.
Judge, can I ask a question real quick?
No, let's just wait.
Okay.
So all I'm asking, is to just lay her out, put her in the right stead, and it's a one-time deal. And I understand that maybe you all have to have a more comprehensive review. I get it. But let's start. Don't penalize my employees today because you haven't been able to get it all straight yet. You know what I'm saying? Just do the right thing. On her, move it to the 46, 568, 46. I don't want to come back on that. That ought to be worth it right there. Let's face it. You won't have to hear from me again.
Oh, but I so enjoy having you here.
Well, let's do this.
Let's do it one at a time, because I still got my next one to go.
I just want to do one at a time.
Okay?
I don't believe in raising it, and we've had this conversation, but it's up to the court, and that's what I told you.
Well, and I
So,
understand.
at the end of the day, do I hear a motion to raise it from $37,130 to $46,565?
Judge, in all fairness, and hearing Judge Cadena give us all this history and everything, I will make the motion to raise the salary for.
And we will have another budget hearing, or another budget workshop on the 4th, so if y'all want to come back, all the elected officials can come back, y'all are more than welcome.
That was going to be my question.
Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, do I have a second?
It's the whole thing. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it across the board.
Do I hear a motion?
And to
To his. I need a second. No? Motion fails.
Judge, just I want to follow up on that because you know that you and I had a conversation, and you and I always do so well on salaries. We agree all the time. But I had told you that I was not going to make a presentation like that because of exactly what Commissioner Middleton said, that we've come so close, and this is stage one. And you assured me that next year we would look at different things. And I trust that that's what you're going to do. I have faith that you're going to keep your word. And like you said, this isn't the last one. I didn't make a presentation to this court, and I think I'm entitled to. And you said that we could come back budget hearing. I have numbers.
Are you going to want to make a presentation? If you are, then we need to finish with Judge Cadena.
I will make a presentation if Judge Cadena gets a position, because I have
Well,
numbers.
and that doesn't, Counselor,
Okay, I will make a presentation.
whether he gets a position or gets more money or whatever has nothing to do
I will-
with whether or
I
not
will.
you want to make
I
a
will.
presentation.
I'll make a
Okay?
presentation.
That is not going to be taken into consideration.
I'm not asking for another position. Are you done with that?
For money, yes, sir.
I'm just simply asking, well, I'm asking the same thing for my court coordinator, to move her from 52,000 to the other court coordinator that makes 59,741, whatever.
Which other one?
You have the one at the,
Sandra,
yeah,
it's in precinct, it's in the county court at law.
she coordinates over a 3-county area, one coordinates over a 1-county area. You know, but
What is it? 59?
Well, no, it's,
52.
hers would be,
Yeah.
his would be $52,309.12. The county court at law court coordinator makes $58,001.90. The court coordinator in county court at law was hired in January 1999, 20 years ago, at a base pay of $20,000. The 83rd court coordinator was hired February of 2013. She was making, I think, $37,000 in the district clerk's office, if I'm not mistaken. It was bumped to a $40,000, which is more than the base pay, and it was more than the base pay because the base pay was at $30,000, and she was already making $37,000. But the court coordinator, county court at law has been there 20 years. The court coordinator in 83rd District Court has been there 6 years. And there is $5,000 some odd $1,000 difference between the 14-year difference.
Again, may I comment on that?
Yes, sir.
Again, you're making the assessment based upon time, yet this is not the same if you all are here. And I get it, you all set budget, you all get it, but you do it for yourselves, but you're not going to do it for them, even though they're doing the same job. And I think that's a little disconcerting.
Let's do this, Judge, if you don't mind. I have to have a public hearing at 10:30. Would you mind waiting so we can continue this
Don't
discussion?
mind waiting at all.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. We'll go to item 7. We'll come back to the budget workshop. We had item 7, the budget hearing set for 10:30. I will open up the budget hearing. It is 10:34. Anybody have any comments on the budget? And we'll go back to the budget workshop in just a minute.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am. Is the budget here? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what we had, or do you want me to go up there?
If you don't mind. Would it wait for the budget workshop, or you dying to say it in the budget hearing?
I'm going to stay in the budget hearing, because I'm sitting there and, I get anxious.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, first of all, I disagree with Judge Cadena about not ignoring the past, because some of us,
What was your comment?
I disagree with Judge Cadena about ignoring the past.
We're fixing to open it back and forth, and
No,
I'd rather not do that.
no. I think that this is a budget hearing now.
Well, I understand, but we need to keep it civil, not attack. And I'm not getting mad at you because you said
Well,
that.
yeah, especially because the position he's speaking about is in my office.
That's right.
But when I first became county attorney, I reduced my salary to give my people increases, and Sonia was making, about $8,000? And at that time, Commissioner Wardlaw, you'll remember Bob Rodriguez. Bob Rodriguez told me, I can't do that. It's the commissioners that set the salaries. And so we went back and forth, and they're telling me that I can't reduce my salary to give my staff raises. And that's when I learned that, yeah, the commissioners are the ones that set the budget and set the salaries. And he finally said, you know what, I've said no to you so many times that I'm gonna let you do this. So he did me the favor of allowing me to reduce my salary so that my staff could make more money. And so that was my first experience with the budget workshop, and that's why I think the past is important. And then we've gone through this back and forth with Mr. Bagley. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Bagley. I would never be a felony prosecutor because those cases are very difficult to handle. Those are cases you take home with you. But when well, I didn't know you were here. Well, now I have to say bad things about Mr. Bagley. I didn't know you were here. But,
So you're gonna say bad things if I wasn't here?
no, good things. Well, never mind, yeah. Anyway, we talk about numbers. And first of all, my office doesn't just handle criminal cases. We also handle civil cases. But when it comes to criminal cases, my office filed 460 cases between October 2018 to the present. And we disposed of 877 cases in county court at law and 169 cases in the JP courts. According to iDocket, and Mr. Bagley's here so he can correct me, the district attorney's office indicted 204 cases and disposed of 249. So you see the numbers are different. And in addition, we handle Commissioner's Court, which is a bonus for everybody. And we also have adult protective services. We handle protective orders. We advise all the elected officials. We're on call 24 hours a day. We attend four courts. We attend actually every court because protective orders are also filed in the 83rd and the 63rd. Ordinances, handling animal control, domestic violence, all those things. So when it comes to my office, if you want to compare apples to apples, then we have a whole different conversation to have. I'm not asking for anything right now.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I shouldn't be making faces.
No,
Something's coming. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
I'm not asking for anything other than for you to consider that when you're considering salaries across the board, and if you're going to consider what people do specifically, then you consider everybody's office and what each employee specifically does. And that opens a whole different area for the hearing, because like I said, you said they have the same titles, therefore they're going to have the same base salaries, and we had a discussion about that. And like I said, I'm willing to step aside from everything as long as that's the consideration. If it's not, then I'm going to argue for more money for my people. And that's it.
I'll address that in the workshop. Is there anybody else? We're good? Yes, Madam Judge. I'm
Can
sorry.
we go back to my item?
We can go back at it to the workshop if you want.
Sorry?
We can go back to it at the workshop after Judge Cadena gets done, but we've
Oh,
already
yes.
voted on yours. Is there
Certainly.
something different?
Thank you. Yes, I have something else to present.
It is 10:38. Budget hearing is closed. And we'll go back to the budget workshop. Judge Cadena, sorry. With all due respect, I'm
I
really
understand.
sorry for that, but
It's basically a same argument. Bottom line is that, I know you all are looking at one factor, and I look at the whole. I don't look at one factor, just them being in that position, because time doesn't necessarily dictate whether or not that should be the relevant factor. It's like saying a relationship. Oh, because you dated someone 5 years, that defines it. You know what? Maybe you'll come up with someone that's much better than that. And that time is never, ever should be a factor on whether or not that is determinative of what you should do. And I think that's something that I understand in some instances, that's what you focus on to justify things, and then on some other instances, you don't focus. So it's kind of like where you want, it's a results-oriented instead of merits-oriented. And, at least I thought, if I was looking at a criminal jury, I had to have a unanimous verdict. And I thought, hey, it'd be great. I don't ever seen three of you all do the right thing, but I thought, man, I think I could do that. But, it is what it is. That's what you all.
Let me ask you this question. You worked for the federal prosecutors for a very long time.
17 and a half years.
17 and a half years. Their pay structure was based on
The position.
the position. So if a new guy came in, he made the same as the guy that had been there 20 years when he started.
It's based on, yeah, because they have a scale, you know, and then.
So he
they-
came in as a GS whatever versus, and then the guy that had already been there 20 years was at that, they were at the same exact pay.
That's exactly right. And you know what? It took out.
So in the
this-
federal government, if I start tomorrow, I'm gonna make the same as the guy that's been there 20 years.
Well, what they're gonna do is you're gonna start out at that level, and then you're gonna keep going up with the raises that they give everyone.
But you'll never catch the other guy.
The other guy will eventually cap out. You're gonna reach a cap. Right here, you got no cap.
No, we're gonna have that conversation in a minute, but.
You all have had this conversation for a long time, but, you know, bottom line is, you're gonna continue to see these kind of arguments, I think, because it doesn't take into account someone that has 27 years' experience working at some really, really hard, pressing type of jobs, and then, you know, just not, and getting paid at a different rate than someone else. It's just an equity argument, and I guess it just doesn't.
It's a difference in how we see equity.
It does, and depends on who decides the purse strings, there's no question about it. And you know what, I know y'all have been good to us too. I'll echo that. We've done a lot of good, and y'all have done very, very well on a lot of projects that we're doing. But when it comes to the employees, I mean, this is something that I feel strongly about, and I'll be back. And hopefully y'all will, you know, keep an open mind on it. Because like I told you, I want to have a long-term relationship, not a short-term one. It's one that we want to continue to foster. But I don't know what else to do, other than sit there and say, you know what, here's the job description, here's this job description, they do the same work, and for some reason, they don't get paid the same amount of money. I think you're really gonna, it just makes it much more difficult to palate as an employee. And I mean, Delina's been in that position for 17 and a half years, under 2 separate judges. Tell me they don't bring a lot of experience to the table. You know, we're going to talk about the court coordinator. She was one of the top, or actually the top clerk when I pulled her out of there.
District clerk's office.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, and you know what? That's valuable. And they've been with the county. One 27 years, the other one 17. You said, well, this one's been there 20. Well, you know what? Add them up. 27, 17, 44, average of 20, 22. They enjoy working for the county. They really do. But this kind of sits a little hard. So I'm just asking you.
Judge, your court coordinator, when you bring up that she worked so long at the clerk's office, she got paid every year. She got a raise almost every year that she was there at the position and the title she was at. When she left, I think she was at $37,000. There was a court order written to bump her to 40.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. We'll find out whether that was whatever. But either way, that was to 40. And then she's been there 6 years since, and she's gotten paid just like every other employee, the same amount, the same percentage as every other employee. But I guess my question, which I know the answer is, that she was at the district clerk's office, she got paid just like every other employee, the raises and everything else. So her years there were taken into consideration because she got paid based on what everybody else is doing.
But your argument doesn't take into account the complexity of the job she now has.
No, and I understand, but she's been there 6 years, so the other person, other county court at law, the individual there, she's been there 20 years. And again, you know, it's just an opinion. And like I told you when we got into this, that it was my opinion, and again, I couldn't see bumping that up, but it wouldn't be my decision. I would do it in my budget, and then it would be the court's decision. So, you know, at this point, do you have more, Judge? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, and I'm a little saddened that maybe you all didn't even throw out any kind of, you know, maybe we can do some now and some later or something. But it's kind of like an all or nothing proposition. And I just don't think it takes into account the full scope of the responsibility that they really have. It's not over just one county, it's 3. You know, and can you imagine having to deal with lawyers all day long?
Can you imagine?
How much of that,
I mean, no, it's not.
how much of that salary is paid by the other three?
Nothing.
Not one single penny is paid by the other three? But she works on 3 counties and they
Well,
don't
she
pay for
has to
pennies?
juggle, the whole schedule, because I gotta be in different places.
But they don't pay any of that cost?
No,
You don't have court coordinators in the other counties?
I have one in Pecos County, but she still has to juggle my schedule over here. No, I shouldn't even be answering her question.
We're good, we're good, Judge, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good.
You all right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you all have any questions?
We're good.
I know what he's saying.
Let me read this before I mess it up. County Court of Law Court Coordinator is $58,001.90. The 83rd is at $52,309.12. The court, at the County Court of Law, there's 20 years that they've been at that position. The 83rd's been there 6 years. The difference in pay is $5,692.78, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion to raise the court coordinator's position at the 83rd, $5,692.78 more than what is proposed in this fiscal year's budget?
What was this?
Come on,
I gotta find it.
Be consistent.
Here's what, in County Court of Law, there's 83rd. That's the difference.
Are we gonna raise both of them?
Well, this one, they're already there.
No, I mean, but you got Henry over here too. I mean, you still got another one.
Henry didn't show up,
I
so.
understand that, but I mean, that's the problem. If you show up, you get something. If you don't, the hell with you. That's why we have this disaster that we have.
That's not what it is. It's if the supervisor feels it's merited, they should be here.
And we should handle it as they bring it to our attention.
Yeah,
Well,
I understand.
again,
You all don't know that
do
there's
I-
a problem until we bring it to you. And that's why I'm not faulting the court at all. The responsibility is on me.
The years don't work.
Judge,
Do I hear a motion?
Judge, could I?
Just real quick, we're fixing to either get a
In
motion.
reference to this matter.
I'd rather not. No, deal with him, please.
Do you have any other questions? I mean, any questions of me? I mean, I'll come back.
My deal is the court wanting to do it? If the court's wanting to do it, we have a motion, we have a second, we take a vote, we move on. If we don't, no motion, it dies. It's that simple. So again, I'm gonna ask for a motion to raise the salary from $52,309.12 to $58,001.90. Do I have a motion?
Excuse me, Judge, I don't know where you're getting that number.
I got it on the book.
I'm sorry?
The number I got is 52, and the other number I got is...
I have 59,741.96 as your.
Okay, so that makes me actually raise it more money.
Well, unless it changed, I mean, but that's the proposal that I have on the figure that I highlighted.
So now it'd be more money,
59,
because I was saying 58.
That'd be real
So it'd be 59. Either way.
It's at 59 right now.
Okay, so do I have a motion to raise it to 59,000? I have no motion, Judge. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you. Good day.
Real quick, if y'all would have enough respect for the court, that if you'll get up, I will see you, and if I recognize you, I'd really appreciate it. If I recognize you, that y'all speak, and then we'll have some type of form, please, some type of order. Not getting mad at anybody, but I'd really appreciate it. Judge Cole, in respect to you coming back up again, is it over that position again, or is it something else? We've already voted on that, Judge?
Well, a motion was made, but it died for lack of a second.
Yes, so if you want to come up, and we can take care of it, I'll make a motion to deny if that's what you want, and we'll see how that goes. If you want, Judge, if you want a motion, we'll do a motion.
Well, I would just like to present some facts for your consideration.
Come on up, Judge. Come on up.
Okay.
Like I say, my door is always open for you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate that very much. And I I interpreted that where we ran into the problem with us having another clerk was because there didn't seem to be an immediate place to put them. And I would like to ask you to reconsider based on the fact that if I have to, I will move furniture out of our office if we can possibly get by with it, so we can put another clerk in the existing footprint that we have. Because my understanding was the problem was having a place to put them.
Okay.
I don't think that was the problem, but,
No, that wasn't.
Okay, real quick. Do I have a motion to give her another employee?
I'll make the same motion again, but.
Okay, I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, I have a second. No second, Judge, so sorry.
Well, that's all right. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
No, no, and I'm sorry I barked at you there like that. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Folks, if y'all don't mind, I think, if I can read from here, it's 10 till 11. If y'all don't mind, we'll take a little we'll take a 10-minute break and we'll come back and then we'll continue. Thank y'all. Call this meeting back to order. It is 11:02. I like doing that. We're going to go back to the budget workshop real quick. Ms. Ramon,
Yes, sir.
were you okay with your budget?
Yes, the last time I just needed to verify
Okay.
some
You're
figures
good?
and I didn't have them, but I'm
Okay,
good.
you're on the list, but you're good.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll take her spot.
You already said you're good.
I feel like mine.
We had an item 26, Madison Group Affairs presentation. In my budget when I filed it, I left the money in there, but did not leave in Madison Group. I told them that it would be a decision of the court. And they asked to do a presentation, and if y'all don't mind, y'all step up. You got 30 seconds.
Hey, I'm from Washington, but I can't talk that fast.
Well, policy changes in Washington every 30 seconds.
Yeah, it is. The flexibility is the key to air power, something like that. Tell us when I was in the Pentagon over the years.
What do we got?
All right, sir. I appreciate the time from the court. Judge Owen, you've been wonderful. You've given us your audience on several occasions, and we appreciate that too. Paul Hirsch, Jack Hession, Madison Government Affairs. A little quick about who we are. Now, we've provided you a format of information previously. I'm not going to go through all that, but there's some good reading in there on our successes. We don't put our failures in there. We don't have that many of them really, but just the successes. We've been around since 1996. We started out really looking at the military and BRAC and communities and how those all interwoven. We've expanded a little bit to do communities for non-military as well. And it's worked out real well because of the training we got in the BRAC world and how communities and bases are intertwined and how they're affected. In addition to Jack and myself on this team, we have Dan Goodrich, who's a retired one-star general, and previously Dan was the wing commander out here at Laughlin, so he's well versed in what goes on out there at the base. We've got similar engagements over the years. Two that I've listed on page on the second slide there is Fort Eustis, Virginia, New City of Newport News, where we have been on board with them since 1994, and that's quite a period of time. Either we've done a very good job or we've convinced them that we've done a very good job. So I think it's a combination of hard work and some successes. And the city is very much in our corner, and we're very appreciative of the long stay we've had with them. Same is true for Patrick Air Force Base in Cape Canaveral, the space launch business. We've been on board with them since 2004, which was prior to the last BRAC. And just to let you know that I was on the BRAC Commission in 1991 to 93, and I ran the analysis operation for that commission process. And so with Patrick, we've been very successful. Patrick Air Force Base in Cape Canaveral. We overturned the recommendation by the Secretary of Defense to close out a Navy operation that was on Cape Canaveral. We saved about 500 jobs at that location, and that has turned into Lockheed Martin bringing more people from the West Coast and California, where it's expensive to operate, bringing them to Florida, where it's a lot less cost to operate. And so we're now up to about 1,000 people there. That would be in Kings Bay, Georgia right now, and not in Florida. Now, you don't care about Florida, but we're going to do the same thing here, bring new missions to Laughlin. Our contract relationship with the county, the city, and the MAA has been going on since 2013. And the way it stands now, which you all know, is you pay the retainer along with the city, and the MAA picks up the expenses that we entail in our operation. And it seems to work fine to date. But early on in the contract, the city and the county came forward and said, hey, we've got some non-military issues that are going to happen here. Will you be interested in doing those for us? And we said, yeah, absolutely. We're here. And we have that background. And the question was, what's the cost increase in our contract? And I said, there's no cost increase. Whatever you're going to bring to us, we'll put on our plate and we'll take care of. Because we look at it as improving the military value of Laughlin, improve the military, or the community's value to its own citizens as well as to the base. So we've taken on a bit of work. Jack handles the non-military stuff. I do the military. And he's been kept quite busy by the judge and by others in the community. And so we've kind of wrapped that into one operation without any increase in cost. And so I think cost is a big issue here. I've sat back in the corner back there listening quite a bit. And so, but I don't feel like we should. I think we should do a good job and get a good day's pay for what we do. And we don't put Washington standards on people down here.
Real quick, save some time. Commissioners, y'all have any questions? Commissioner Wardlaw?
No.
I think I've done a great
Commissioner
job.
Vasquez, I have one deal, like we spoke yesterday. I think my biggest problem was the lack of communication.
Yes, sir.
So, that's my
Well,
only comment.
yeah.
And let's go down the road.
Okay.
Commissioner Nelson.
I mean, I think I've done a great job. I would like to see y'all do more presentations to the court, if, just so that the rest of us can kind of keep, I mean, I have a pretty good idea of what's going on, but that doesn't necessarily mean everybody else does. A little more presentation to the court, a little more visible to Commissioner's Court would be nice.
Absolutely.
But I think you've done a great job. I mean, y'all have done some phenomenal things for the base and for the community, and so I definitely do appreciate those things.
Yeah.
But just so that the court can kind of be
Yeah,
a little
I would
more
like
up to date.
We'll do that, and we'll try to do that either, however often the court wants us to be, or whether it's quarterly.
I would like to see at least
Semi-annual.
quarterly, and then maybe monthly you send out an email to everybody so
Sure.
they all kind of know what's going on.
We'd be happy to do that. One of the things, just since you've been on this Laughlin thing for a while, as the other commissioner has, and you're fresh, this is your first term in, there's a thing called the ERC, which is a engine repair facility, and the Air Force wanted to move it out of Laughlin. That was 90 jobs, $60,000 a year annual job. We overturned that. We went and saw the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, who was a Texan, Matt Thornberry, and with his staff and Mr. Byrd's staff. We got legislation that said, Air Force, you can't do this. So you can multiply 90 times $60,000 annual salary. That's a nice poke.
What is the cost of your contract to the county?
To the county?
Yes, sir.
It's 43 to the county and 43 to the city annually.
Okay.
43,000. So it's 86,000.
No, I think that, I appreciate the work y'all done.
Thank you.
And, just a little more communications, and I think we're good.
I would say that others in our line of work would probably be around 10,000 a month rather than 7,000 a month. So.
Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
You have anything?
No, I already asked my question.
You have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to put the Madison back in there and to request at the, out of travel to Washington DC at the 43, and that, we get quarterly meetings and monthly emails to the entire court.
I'll second that.
we have a, let me get back to you.
Judge, and is that considered part of the budget workshop?
That's part of the budget workshop, because in the budget workshop, I had not put them in there, so I wanted to bring them in and make sure that we would change it during this. Have motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0 vote, I'm going to abstain.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And we'll see you in about three months, huh?
Okay, thank you.
And everybody else who showed up, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everything y'all did for us.
Actually, it was short, so
I ain't got to my budget stuff yet.
We'll go back to the budget workshop. I think we hadn't done parks. Was the other one we hadn't done, and then Commissioner Nettleton was not here. So we'll go into parks, and then we'll do Commissioner Nettleton.
Well, mine is over the whole budget. I'm starting with the other budget.
Okay. So we're gonna, let me go get the other budget, please. Okay, Commissioner Alcazar.
Okay, there's a couple of issues. And we'll probably address more of these on the special revenue deals, because a lot of them are more related to special revenues. But, one that stands out to me is we have in Constable Byrd's, budget, a travel budget of $1,500. So when you get into the special funds, he's sitting there with $4,551 in Leo's funds, which is only going to be used for travel and training, but absolutely no expenditures for that budget. It doesn't make sense to me that we're using taxpayers' money to do that. I think that money needs to come out of, those Leo's funds are designed for training of constables. But I do notice that the other constables apparently do not apply for them. It's $652 a year.
Commissioner, just so we'd actually addressed that with the rest of them, that they needed to get with, and Constable Byrd did say that he would help them. So they try to apply for it and get that. I think that was a conversation for you.
I just don't think we should continue funding travel and training if we're going to sit there and keep a fund and keep building a balance in it and not using it. We also have under the sheriff a Leo's fund of $9,006.
Let's take care of. What do we want to do? There is funds evidently in the special funds and the Leo's fund. How much?
Well, at the end of this year, it'll be $4,551.
Okay. I guess my question would be, do we have the authority to say move that money from there to here?
I don't see why we don't
Yes.
have the authority to cut. Instead of budgeting $1,500 in travel and training, if you're sitting there with a Leo's fund that is designed for travel and training of $4,000, why do we continue to fund it?
Fund the training?
Yeah, out of the general fund. Is there any reason we can't require them to take it out of the fund that is designed for travel and training?
I think that if you had a system for it, like perhaps maybe Tom could coordinate their applications, and then that's money you count on, and yeah, then you could use it.
Okay, but today, just today with Constable Byrd's deal, he has $1,500 in travel and training. Can we use Leo funds to offset that $1,500?
You can if he's not going to spend any more than that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's zero expenditures under travel and training in
Sure.
the Leo's fund. Zero expenditures, but there's $1,500 a year. And I think each constable, if they can get $652, we should cut that by $652.
Yeah, if you're not minimizing his travel and training, that's perfect.
I'll make a motion to cut the travel and training by, sorry.
There is going to be, it's only eligible for a certain amount of training. I don't know what kind of training he's going to apply for this year. So I don't know if there's going to be some wiggle room there, if we just wanted to cut a certain amount.
So that, his motion was going to be the 650 something. If we do that, then we should be okay, because we're not cutting all his travel and training. He still has money in travel and training to go do other travel and training.
So, we have been paying for this, and he's applying, just like everybody else can, to get the money back that we already paid for. Because we paid for the training, right?
You did.
And he went to the training, and they submitted it to the state, and the state reimbursed them.
So you're talking
A
about
portion, not all of it, I understand it's not all of it.
So we're talking reimbursements from Christmas past type deal thing?
Well, I mean, it took quite a few years at $652 to get to $4,500.
Was your motion going to be
My motion was to cut the travel and training by $652, and that the other constables need to apply for the money. And
we had talked about the applying, So what we'll do is we'll lower the $1,500 travel and training by $652, which you can take it out of his legal funds. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, I have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? 5-0 vote.
Now let's go to the Leo's Fund Sheriff has, which is $9,691 with no expenditures, and we have.
Sheriff.
Yeah, we're talking about you.
Yeah.
We have travel and training in the sheriff's office.
$41,485.
But we're not expending any money out of this travel and training line.
Tylenol PM. Oh, we should be okay here in a minute.
You want to get departmental?
Yeah.
I think you need to put it by department, but keep up with it.
Yeah, the good thing is that when we file it, it'll have numbers when I go around. Right now, you just tell me.
Okay. We'll be more than glad to use those funds there from the Leo's funds. I believe that, the budget for the travel and training previously was, this number indicates a cut already.
And that's fine, it's just there's no expenditures here.
Okay.
We're not showing that we're gonna use any of this money, and this is money that the state gave us back for something.
Okay.
It, in my opinion, needs to be used first, and then if we need additional funding, we need additional funding.
We'll get it addressed.
Okay, so when we do the other one, you'll put an expenditure in here?
A
Because you
reduction.
can't, well, not necessarily a reduction, but you can't expend the fund because there is no expenditure item.
Right. Absolutely, we can appropriate expenditures in there. What did you want to do with the general fund budget, travel and training? Anything?
That's what I'm saying.
He's saying he's already been cut, so that's fine, I mean, but I would say use this first and then tackle that, no?
This doesn't
Oh,
show.
he hasn't? Okay.
No, you
I
got
haven't.
40, you're at 41,485, and
Yeah,
last
well-
year's was at 41,485.
Okay, let me find it.
Okay. We'll get it.
Taking their word for it. So,
No, it hasn't cut. You'll have to
okay. So,
use the money also, and that'll be brought back on the 4th?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And then, there was a position that we had, you had done some reclassification of positions, and there was one at the fairgrounds that we had classified as an office manager, and moved it to like $30-something thousand. Huh?
Y'all are gonna need it later.
I would consider that position to be classified as a clerk or a secretarial position. And I don't know where we are on this chart yet,
Have you spoke with Juanita? Ms. Juanita has some classifications. Can you come up now, please?
what's the classification, how are we doing this on the
So you're talking about the,
clerk? We're moving the one at Parks to an office manager.
yeah, and
And I consider it not an office manager, but a clerical or a secretary or whatever. I don't know how you have it in here.
And the way the structure is set up, if we leave her at the secretary position, she'll move up to the 26,000, which will increase her current salary by 31.
So what's the base pay on the office manager?
The base pay for the office manager is at 30.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, but right now for
The secretary?
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am.
The new one,
Yes.
26,000. So
That was
she'll
one of
go
the-
to
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjust that instead of office manager, put secretary and take it to that page.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. Move it to the 26th from the 30. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores.
This is on the office manager?
Yes.
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 Yes. All those in favor, yes?
Yes.
I'm gonna abstain for this one. It's a 4-0 vote and 1 abstention. What else we got?
I would like to see us take a look at building maintenance, parks building maintenance, how we have it now, divided into 3 areas: a Parks and Recreation Department, a Building Maintenance Department, and a Fairgrounds Department. I think it's a better fit. I would like to see us have somebody oversee each one, and then those people answer back to the county engineer, which then in turn answers back to us. I think there is a need in this community for parks and recreation, and when I don't mean just park maintenance, I mean full recreation, where we're actually enhancing the youth recreation, involving more children, and able to coordinate more types of stuff for our kids. Years ago, the city had a decent program, and that program I don't think has functioned that well. I think we need to take a look at it. If we don't want to do it in this budget, that's fine, but I think we need to take a look at it this year, because I think there is a need there. Combining those seems to be where we wind up. If we have something, we pull everybody off everything else and go do it, and then everything else gets neglected, and this is more for a discussion of the court than, I'm probably not going to make a motion to do it, but I want the court to have a discussion about looking at going that direction at some point. Either we can do it now, or we can discuss it as the year goes along.
I would rather discuss it as the year goes along, and then if we hire the engineer, and he's the one that's put in charge of it, he's the one put in charge, then he could also give you some recommendation once he gets in.
I think it's a good suggestion. Wait until the engineer comes on board, and then.
And I'm fine with that. I just want to start opening the conversation.
And it's a good suggestion, though.
Yes, it is.
The other issue that I wanted to discuss is y'all created this new classification, but I did notice there is no top-end, or is that something we're going to work on?
That's something we're going to work on. When we looked at this, the cap, it was anywhere from 35 to 70% of whatever the base pay was. That the counties that we looked at, it was 35 to 70%. It's something the court wants us to look into a little bit further. We were just trying to do something to the court. But the cap would be between 35 and 70% counties that we looked at.
And then
whatever the base pay is.
And then some sort of longevity system, I'm assuming.
We looked at, we had talked about, the first budget that I prepared, we actually had a cap in it. It was a cap at 65% and then 1% for longevity if you were over the cap. I did not follow that budget.
No, it's fine.
But that's what we looked at, was 65% of whatever the base pay was. And then at that point, once you were capped out, you would either get the 0.5% or percent, whatever the court decided for longevity. And you wouldn't get the 3% or the 1950 or 1750, whatever the court has done over the last 8 years.
When we look at that, can we look at the part on elected officials?
I had gone in and we've actually talked about on the elected officials maybe doing a 15% reduction as a base pay on the elected officials as the ones that are coming in, and maybe some type of policy that you hold back for the first 2 years or the first term. We had looked at that, but then we run into issues that we're sitting up here deciding that because we don't want people to run against us. But I really believe it would be a good idea to set a base salary for elected officials coming in.
I agree, and I think we need to, and maybe we set up some meetings or a committee or something to look at this, and maybe the committee is public members, not necessarily us, but people from the public, to start looking, because when you start averaging out the pays on elected officials and what other counties of our sizes are, we do have some of the highest paid elected officials in the state. And I think
in the county attorney.
except Commissioners.
Actually not.
Pretty low.
If you look at the top 11 counties that are, within our population base, the average is 61,000 and we're 50-something, 55, 56, something like that. But I think we need to include something in there or at least have that discussion.
Is that it, Commissioner?
That's it, since we're gonna do special funds at another time, then we'll discuss special funds.
Is there anybody else?
Going along, non-departmental for air life, we're gonna need to budget $1,130 more going off the invoice.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
okay.
but that dollar amount should be correct. Was there something wrong with it?
Well, when we spoke, I thought you said it was going to increase by $1,100.
No.
No?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. And our utilities and our parks and maintenance,
You said you wanted to go up on.
we're going to have to increase that. A safe bet would probably be around 10% increase in our utility cost.
So the dollar amount.
Our new buildings, the library, and just,
So
the amount
where do you want to go to?
48,000.
No, you want to increase it by 48,000.
Correct.
What would you want to go to?
Well, 10% increase. So,
What would the grand total be?
what would the grand total be? Let me get you those figures. Roughly, I will give you an estimate. 533?
And what, a motion, do I have?
Motion. I'll make a motion.
To move it to 533,000?
Motion.
Have a motion, need a second? Second. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0 vote. Is that it?
That's all right.
And when we come back to this, on the 4th, we'll review the special funds. I know that you've already gone through some of them, Commissioner Nettleton, but we'll actually go through the rest of them to make sure that we have those funds and that we have a line item in those funds for expenditure. Is there anybody else on the budget?
Only if there's a chance to get more money. Yes, sir.
So now what did I do with the agenda? New papers.
Go down to item 8, set salaries for elected officials as they were in the budget. Does anybody have any concerns on the salaries? Or does the court have any concerns on the salaries that we're setting?
Why don't we start looking at a long-term issue?
No, we'll look at that. I need a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Proposed tax rate.
I will make a motion to set the tax rate. We have to break this out.
We can just do one tax. We can just do one tax rate, just the 5.327, whatever, right?
Yeah, our motion to set the tax rate at 0.5237, which is the current tax rate that we have now. I guess I need to read this.
No, we can read that the next go.
Okay.
Second.
We're not adopting.
No, we're not adopting, it's just a proposal. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second.
I second it.
Second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 10, set date and time for hearing on tax rate. What I thought was that we would have a hearing on the 4th and another hearing on the 11th of September. We would need to post on the 24th and on the 31st of October. Our regular scheduled meeting is September 4th.
Judge,
Yes.
we have the TAC conference in Austin, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. I don't know. I'm going. I don't know if anybody else is going.
Who else is going?
I'm going.
Jesus Christ. 3rd, 4th, 5th?
Yeah, we leave the
We'll do on
3rd.
the 2nd?
That's a holiday. But yeah, we can do it.
We might do it. We've got to get it done.
Yeah.
On the second.
So September 2nd?
Yeah.
But that's a holiday.
Huh?
That's a holiday.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we have to get it done. It isn't, I mean, when
So
we
you'll
got
do the
bills.
2nd and the 11th?
Yes, and the 2nd that week is also when we pay payroll, do payroll and everything.
Yeah, but you don't know if the rest of the staff
Or we
will
can-
be here, like the county clerk staff and.
Or we can do it the first thing on the 3rd in the morning, and then that'll give us time to leave. It's just.
Y'all have time
it's
to
just-
leave?
Yeah.
See, that would work. Commissioner Moore?
On the second?
On the third.
Yes, I'll be-
That work?
Motion to set the, tax rate hearings on the 3rd at 9 a.m. and the 11th at 9 a.m.
Yes, that work.
Second.
All right, have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. All right, subdivision plats. Actually not here, have none. Certificates of compliance, none. Monthly reports from elected officials.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Payment of bills.
Second.
Commissioner Nettleton, motion, Commissioner Flores, second. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Aaron, treasurer's report. No action. Auditor's report. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Budget, item 17, budget adjustment, increased general fund lineup, autopsy by $8,500.
What are we doing this?
Right, money.
Motion approved.
Well, we're gonna increase that from, probably,
I'm assuming the
contingency,
contingency.
yes, okay.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 18, signature authorizing Thomas Rutters Westlaw contract for legal research used by the 63rd District Court, 83rd District Court, District Attorney, and County Court at Law.
The county attorney does not use this?
No, they don't want to. No, I'm not kidding. We have another one.
Okay.
We're not.
Motion approved.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, seconded by Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Budget adjustment. Can I just read A, B, C? And if nobody has a problem, we can just go ahead and do it.
That's how you would do it.
Item A, transfer $1,853.93 from County Fire Department travel and training line item to office supplies line item. B, transfer $657.71 from County Fire Department uniform line item to office supplies line item. And C, transfer $7,130.36 from County Fire Department capital outlay item to fire reserve line item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Wardlaw.
I only got one question.
Yes, sir.
Why are we taking capital and moving it to reserve?
This was a donation, grant.
Oh, okay.
And it was going to be spent originally this year,
Okay.
but it's not gonna be spent.
All right. That's fine.
Have motion, Commissioner Flores, second by Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 20, REA Electric Company grant for, wait a minute, $23,000 for fire equipment.
It's,
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton,
Second.
second, Commissioner Flores.
That grant is, it says up to
Okay,
max.
that'll work. Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. We've done item 21. Item 22, office space for West Texas Counseling and Guidance, veteran case management. Barrientos.
Yes, Celso Barrientos.
Celso Barrientos. The program is for mental health needs for veterans or their dependents. Yes, sir. And you're
Yes.
gonna put them?
We have office space, there at the office. We just want to make sure that, when the veteran comes in, he doesn't get lost going down the street. He's going to be the case manager, directing them from point A to point B with their mental health.
And no cost to us.
No cost to us at all. His salary's been paid for by TDC.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. Second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? 5-0 vote.
Thank you, Judge. Thank
No,
you.
sir, thank you. Item 23, donations totaling amount of $110, which will go towards the purchase of books. And motion,
Second.
Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 24, interlocal agreement between Valverde County and Texas Department of Motor Vehicles.
This is not one that we
Always do that.
know that.
It's a
we set up.
standard contract, to provide, equipment to the county.
It's not the one we do where we set the fee or whatever it is?
No, it's
$10 or?
No.
All right, motion to approve.
Have motion, Commissioner Nettleton, seconded by Commissioner Wardlaw. Was that you? Was that you?
Was now.
Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 25, HR report.
Move.
Have motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. We've done 26. Item 27, establish Valverde County Advisory Committee of Domestic Violence. We need a couple of names. The city's already given us a name.
The DA said he wanted to be on it, but the district
DA?
attorney.
Okay. If we could get two more. We've got one from the city, and then it'll be DA Bagley. Who else? Anna, you want to be on it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm the smartest one.
All right. That's enough.
There's three, how many?
There's three. DA, you, and a member from the city.
Maybe the city attorney.
No, they've already given me the
No,
right.
room full of
I can't
attorneys?
back it up.
No, don't do that.
Nothing gets done. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Just remember that when you need.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna pay for it, yes.
Yes, sir. Big time. Should we
That's
have
three.
five?
Is that enough?
No, we should have five.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. We need to come back, at least this will get you started. Not motion to approve, I'm sorry. Motion by Commissioner Nettleton, seconded by?
Second.
Second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Resolution authorizing submission of Texas Community Development Block Grant application for 2019, Texas CDBG, Colonia Construction Fund.
Move.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Update on FEMA projects. Elizabeth's right here. But, Tom's here. Bottom line is, we're working on they've been working on the projects for all four of the precincts. Correct me if I'm wrong, in, November, December, precinct 3. Right, should have their paperwork already done and submitted and everything. January would be precinct 2. And then precinct 4 and precinct 1, everything's submitted already. Right, so we're just waiting on FEMA to come back. They asked us about mitigation, that there's money for mitigation. The problem with that is, amongst themselves, they can't answer the question that if we go out and spend the money, are we gonna get reimbursed, or can we get pre-qualified before we spend the money? On the conference call this week, they couldn't answer the question. There was about 4 of them, and there was 4 of them, and there was like 6 different opinions. I can tell you that Vincent, the guy that's been helping us here, has been amazing. Between him, Elizabeth, and Tom, I mean, it looks like, he did say that we are further along than any other county that he's been here. So, precinct 2 and 3, the reason we went with those first is because that's what was asked of us by FEMA, because those have already been done. And hopefully we'll get some clarification on the mitigation. If we get that, we're probably gonna have to pony up some money, but as long as we know that we're gonna get it reimbursed, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. But I just wanted the court to know where we were going with that. Item 30, acceptance of donation from Middle Rio Grande Council in the amount of $500.
Motion to accept.
Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Flores.
Where's it going?
That was, have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. What they want us to do is for school supplies. I don't know how to spend it.
I thought last year we give it to, the 4-H and they spent it, or something with school supplies.
I can research it, find out what we did last year with it.
I was pretty sure we gave it to Emily and then she went and did so, I think, but
It don't matter, as long as if we can get it to their part of it, so it should be easier, right? Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. That's good, boy. Mr. Muskies, number 31, acceptance of bid submission 2019-2020, defined term purchases of commodities and services such as fuel, construction materials, uniform, as well as janitorial, pest control, HVAC maintenance, and beverage services.
All right, we can, I provided you a list of all the bids that went out and all the invitations went out and the bids that were returned, and it's the same format as every year. We've got some new players that came in. You want to go over it all at one time or in categories?
Let's go by category and we'll vote on it.
Okay, on road materials, Flex Base, 90 West Contractors, CSA Materials, and Martin Marietta all submitted. We invited 4 to participate, got those three to submit. pricing are as presented to the different precincts. There's multiples. We're looking at a differential of maybe less than 1% increase over all of them. I mean, there was some that did not quote last year, and they're in here, so.
If we accept these bids, I do know that I buy from, Lilly Construction out of Ozona because we're way up to the Juneau and Pendle area.
Yeah, we
These will
invited
not be
them, but
included. This will not, no, I mean, they're not gonna deliver down here, but when the,
Well,
I don't
it-
notice anything in here that shows a delivery to that distance, so I just wanted to make sure.
at the time, I can get pricing for delivery to that place.
Could we get a motion to accept these, and then probably at a later date, if needed, we just use Lilly Construction, 'cause that's really off the beaten path.
I just wanna make sure I'm not stuck.
I will get quotes for the location. That's a special location. That's not.
I don't need quotes, I just wanna be able to know that I'm not stuck with any one of these vendors.
Well, there's no way they will.
I'll make a motion to, where do we go? Our low bid is 90 West?
Let's see.
I don't know.
Low bid would be CSA Materials at 117.5 average.
CSA.
If you look at the, right up to the next column next to differential per year, that would be your medium price.
We just accept them on and y'all pay it.
Yeah, I think that'd be the worst thing to do.
All right, motion to approve all.
Second.
Motion Commissioner Middleton, seconded by Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. And then they can pick. We should do that on the-
I agree. Asphalt, you've got Vulcan Materials and Martin Marietta providing quotes. We're looking at a price increase of about 2.5% to 4%.
Motion to accept both.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? 5-0 vote.
On oil for paving, we sent out two invitations and got no response, so whenever we have a project come up, we will have to go out and find oil. There's no action on the oil.
A lot of oil in Pecos, Texas.
Fuel calculations, or the fuel category, we sent out 5 invitations, only received 1, and that was from West State Capital. And we're looking at about a 24% increase.
These are our only offers.
We reached out to multiples this year for that same reason.
How in the world can off-road diesel be more expensive? It's crazy.
It's insane.
The differential is lower, but
The quality's better.
20% is up.
We don't have a choice, it is what it is. No fair, no fun.
Motion.
Second.
And I have a second. Motion Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores on fuel. All those in favor? 5-0 vote.
On pest control, we invited 5 to participate and received 3. In Southwest Texas, Integrity Pest Control is the
Low bidder.
the low
Motion to
bidder.
approve Southwest Texas.
Have motion Commissioner Flores, Commissioner Middleton. Sorry about that. Do I have a second? I'm sorry. Second Commissioner Wardlaw. Hey. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Janitorial services, we requested solicitations for 2 suppliers, only received 1, and we're having, it's the same price as last year, and the same company as last year.
I think we need to take a look at maybe us doing this at some point.
$52,000 a year, 55,200.
Motion to approve.
Have motion Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0 vote.
Copy services, 4 were requested to submit, and we received 2. Mr. Snacks being the lowest bidder.
Motion to approve on Mr. Snacks.
Second.
Have motion Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Middleton. All those in favor? 5-0 vote.
Bottom water services, we received just one quote, and that's from DS Waters.
Was that for the big ones or the small ones?
Oh, well, that's for the dispensers and the 5-gallon, bottles.
So we're paying for,
They do quote also on regular small
Individual
bottles,
bottles.
individual bottles, but that's twice as much as we're purchasing them at Walmart.
motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve Commissioner Nettleton, I have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? 5-0 vote.
Under uniforms, we requested participation of 4, received 2, UniFirst and Cintas.
Oh, the first one.
Well, this is where the big difference, it's not on the clothes, it's on the added fees. So Cintas will charge you $35 for every delivery. You got 9 places you deliver per week.
Yeah.
On 52 weeks. That's where they're making their money.
Motion to approve UniFirst.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, seconded by? Second by Commissioner, Flores, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. HVAC.
That's heating,
Can we not do this until we come up with a system? Because I'm not convinced we get what we're supposed to be getting on this.
we'll just call it,
We know table.
we'll just call them out and
We need to call it as we need them, and then
building maintenance.
somebody needs to start putting together a system.
You want to table it?
Yeah, table it.
Motion to table, Commissioner Nettleton.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 30, that's one we're on right now. Item 32, capital purchase by Sheriff's Office of a MAG 2 short bed drawer box for Silverado pickup for price of $2,716 to be paid from the auto expense line item.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second. Second, Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Purchase by Sheriff's Office of a Ford Dell Latitude 7212 laptops out of Sheriff's Office operating supply line item in the amount of $7,864.
Motion to approve.
This already went through RAM, or
Yes.
is this part of the replacement program that we have, or?
We went through RAM on this because, this is so they can do their work in the field.
So we're adding
their
stuff.
laptop, yes. So instead of course of correction, because there's only funds there for 3.
Just so you're only gonna do 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Flores. Second, Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 34, Texas CDBG 7218075, draw number 10 for San Felipe Pasture, that's going to be the water line project, requesting reimbursement in the amount of $75,074.76 from Core and Main Water Line Piping invoice number K605957 and $7,143.46 for Core and Main invoice number K847932, and authorize the county judge and county auditor to sign Form A-203.
Motion.
Motion, Commissioner Wardlaw.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 35, Texas CDBG 7218024 Ridgeline Waterline Project Budget Modification Number 1, requesting to move $8,774.48 for Activity Water Improvement 03J to Activity Rehab Single Unit Water 14A, and authorize county judge to sign Form A-1101. Do we need Matt to sign on that? or-
No action on that, Judge.
All that. Do you have any action that you'd like to take on that? Before I take off. Item 36, Texas CDBG 7218026, Ridgeline Waterline Project Budget Modification Number 1, requesting to move $8,350.32 for Activity Water Improvements 03J to Activity Rehab Single Unit Water 14A, and authorize county judge to sign Form A-1101.
Motion to approve.
I don't even read it just because I got second.
Motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 37, Texas CDBG 7218026, Ridgeline Waterline Project, draw number 10, requesting $33,100 $105.44 for core and main invoice K605938 and $8,774.48 core and main invoice K604616, and authorize county judge and county auditor to sign Form A-203.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Lease agreements between Valverde County and A. Copa de la Amistad Bull Riding on October 19, 2019. B. 2019 St. Joseph Catholic Church Barbecue Cook-Off and 5K on September 20th, 2019. And C. Daryl Laughlin Youth Soccer League at Alcoa Fields from August 26, 2019 through November 23rd, 2019.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 39, approval and signature of property consent form between Valverde County and U.S. Customs and Border Protection for their annual training courses for canines and officers. I think this is the one that's at the 60 acres, and also what they wanted, they presented a 1-year deal. They wanted to know if they could go ahead and sign the 2-year. It's the same thing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. Ma'am?
Do I need to look at that, or is that the standard?
That's the same thing we signed, but we'll get it to you. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. They have a retirement, flag retirement ceremony that they've done every year. This is for permission to do that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Nedger would have been here, but he had a dentist appointment. He was hurt. 41, 2020 state and local HIDA task force agreement.
Judge, Commissioners, this is a reoccurring agreement that is signed on an annual basis, and it basically sets out the terms and conditions of the agreement.
This is y'all participating with them?
Yes, sir.
This is y'all sending deputies over to them?
Yes.
And
And it's a reimbursement
They
to the
pay
county.
all of our deputies?
They pay 2 of our deputies that are assigned, one's assigned to HSI and one's assigned to DEA.
And those salaries are paid for totally by them?
Yes, sir.
Motion approved.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second.
Second.
Second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Authorization to place med return drug collection unit. Wait a minute, let's start all over. Authorization to place a med return drug collection unit at the Alice May Fitzpatrick building.
So, HIDA needed some funds to spend and asked me what I needed. And,
This is what we came up with?
Yeah. You'd be surprised at the number of elderly people in the community that want a place to get rid of their drugs and stuff. And, there's a drug take back once or twice a year. This will be, one will be placed at the sheriff's office, and I visited, with our, tax clerk, Beanie Mills, and, asked her about this. She has no concerns. We'll just get together and discuss where we'll place it there as people come to that facility on a regular basis to get a vehicle registration, pay their taxes and stuff. So it'll be another location ready, available to the public.
And I think it's needed. I mean, my father-in-law passed on Sunday, and that was we had like 17, 18 prescriptions. What do you do?
Yeah.
Motion approved.
Second.
That motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 43, payment from Valverde Sheriff's Office personnel as emergency transportation of mental health commitment patients at the rate of $30 per hour as previously approved February 9th, 2019.
Judge, can we table this for after executive session?
A motion table?
Motion table.
Motion table, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Write that down, so I don't. 44, issuance of county credit cards to Sergeant Gina Garcia and Sergeant Juan Garza, Sergeant Gabriel.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 45, license plate reader LPR user agreement with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
Why do we need a Agreement with him.
They're coming up with an agreement because all the data will be dumped to, DPS takes the data on a daily basis and they dump it into another server. That server puts it into these, license plate readers, and then there's a hit location. If that stolen vehicle hits one of those license plate readers, it'll notify a law enforcement agency that that vehicle has, stolen vehicle is in their area.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And
And what?
And 46 is basically the same thing.
Okay, well, let's do 45. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, and a second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0 vote. 46, memorandum of understanding regarding TCIC, stolen license plate and stolen vehicle information with Texas Department of Public Safety.
Motion approved.
I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Close,
Judge, can you read number 49 first?
Thank you.
You want to go back to the budget? We can get some cutting.
No, we don't. We're okay.
We need some cutting
Yeah,
here.
more, yeah. 47, closed session consultation pursuant to Texas Government Code A 551.071 and 551.129, attorney-client privilege, consultation regarding the proposed purchase of regarding the proposed purchase with public funds by Valverde County for public parks, recreation purposes of certain real and personal property located in the county. And B, 551.072, discussion regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property regarding the proposed purchase of certain real property in Valverde County by Valverde County with the public funds for public parks, recreation purposes. Deliberation in an open meeting regarding this matter would have a detrimental effect on the position of the Commissioners Court in negotiation with a third party. We will now go into executive session. Let's take a little 5-minute break and then we'll go on. Y'all don't mind.
Judge, this is serious business.
Monday?
This is serious business, and you're giggling.
I had a headache. I had a headache. Item 43. Go back. Payment of Valverde County Sheriff's Office personnel as emergency transportation for mental health commitment patients. Patient at the rate of $30 per hour as previously approved February 9th, 2015. In discussion with the auditor and the sheriff. We probably need to address that and make that probably time and a half as to whatever the individual is getting paid at that moment. Is that about right?
Let's see.
Yes, sir, whatever their rate is. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Now let's get to the long-winded stuff here.
Judge, you paid a lot of money for those words, so read them carefully.
Yeah. My glasses are dirty. Hope my dyslexia doesn't kick in. End up giving him more money. Item 48, earnest money to be paid on contract between Valverde County and SC Ranch Holdings Limited to purchase approximately 2,900 acres. Let's do this. Let's go to 49 first. That way we have a contract in order for 48 on the earnest money. Sorry about that, my fault. Item 49, proposed contract in parentheses by and between Valverde County, Texas County and SC Ranch Holdings LTD and or other related business entities for the purchase of public funds for the county for public parks and recreation purposes of certain real and personal property with A, the subject real property being located in Valverde County, Texas, containing approximately 2,948.4954 acres, more or less, a part of abstract number 1030, parentheses, 1029, parentheses, 1027, parentheses, 1338, parentheses, 1937, parentheses, 1207, parentheses, 1019, parentheses, 1026, parentheses, 1025, and 1031 there.
Judge, you read that one.
Huh?
It's supposed to be open parens, closed parens.
Okay, that one.
They were commas, Judge.
Comma. I'm not going back. As what, And I'm really having a hard time, y'all don't realize, this late in the meeting, my glasses start, my eyes start messing up. There was commas between all those numbers,
Instead of the parentheses.
instead of parentheses, I'm sorry. As well as Waterloo section, and everybody hollering commas, I didn't know what y'all wanted. Waterloo section 21/block 4, and the Monarch Crossing wastewater treatment plant /block number 1/lot 1 therein. As more particularly described in the public records of the county clerk of Valverde County, Texas, and Valverde County Appraisal District, to which reference is made for all purposes. With said real property generally located east of the city of Del Rio, Texas, and west of Laughlin Air Force Base, and B, the subject personal property being certain improvements located on the subject real property, as well as certain permits, certifications, licenses, authorizations, and other governmental approvals associated with or related to the use or operations of the subject real property.
What?
Do I have a motion?
Motion to.
I think Commissioner Vasquez was supposed to read it because it's in his precinct, so we describe
Okay, gotcha. I have a motion for all that,
Yes.
to accept it.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. We'll do the contract, and we'll go back to this one. Item 50, timely, A, in parentheses, execution and delivery of the aforesaid contract by the county judge of Valverde County, Texas, parentheses, B in parentheses, and there's a comma before B, payment and delivery of the county's earnest money deposit to the title company regarding the aforesaid contract, and C is in parentheses, initiation and completion of all tasks necessary or described to successfully comply with the aforesaid contract and close and complete the sale and purchase of transaction therein described.
Move.
Second.
And authorize the checks to be written.
Second accept.
Second, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. Motion by Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. We'll go back, and then we'll go back to bills. Item 48, earnest money to be paid on contract between Valverde County and SC Ranch Holdings to purchase approximately 2,900 acres.
Move.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. We'll go back to bills to be paid, please. Payment of bills. If I'm not mistaken, there's a $5,000 check that needs to be cut for this contract, and then a $1,000 check that needs to be cut for this contract.
Judge, I will make a motion to add the $5,000 check and the $1,000 check to the existing bill.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. We okay with that? Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. 51, no action taken. Commissioner's comments? Judge's comments, I have a long list of stuff that I'm tired.
You want me to read it for you?
No, we're good. We are adjourned. Thank y'all so much. Thank you to the commissioners, our department heads, and all elected officials. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you on that.